Speedway near Hampton, Georgia. It's the Hooters 500. A beautiful day here, and the crowd is anticipating perhaps the biggest race in NASCAR history, at least in the modern era. There are fans rooting for their favorite driver, as for the first time in NASCAR history, 6 drivers are eligible for the championship going into this event. The quest for the Cup standings show Davey Allison on top by 30 over Alan Kulwicki. But also Bill Elliott, Harry Gant, and Kyle Petty are eligible. And then Mark Martin is the 6th driver mathematically capable of taking the championship here today. And good afternoon. Welcome to Atlanta Motor Speedway. We here at ESPN very proud to bring you this final race of the 1992 season as we wrap things up. Not only a championship at stake here today, but perhaps as important, it's the final race for a guy who started his career back in 1958 and has become the king of stock car racing. It's Richard Petty's final ride. Here's more with Jerry Punch.
Bob, I have never seen an atmosphere more electric, more emotion in the air. Richard Petty, last October, a year ago, you announced the Fan Appreciation Tour. Your chance to give something back, but they turned the tables on you. They wanted to say thank you to you. Now, on behalf of us at ESPN and the millions of fans around the world who didn't get a chance, thank you for all the memories.
Well, we thank everybody. It's just been a great year. Our race has not been too good, but everything else has been great, and we couldn't have been better from the fans' part of it. You know, I started out to say thank you, fans. Fans come back and said thank you, Richard, and I've enjoyed all 35 years of it. Hope they have.
Richard, we've all enjoyed it. Now, how about today? The STP Pontiac ran well in practice yesterday. Could you possibly give us one more memory?
I'd be asking a little bit much, just to tell you the truth, but you can say one thing. We're going to go out there and try and do the very best we can, and, you know, if the good Lord willing, we'll be right there with them when it's over with.
Good luck to you.
Thank you, man.
Richard Petty, the undisputed king of stock car racing, emotion flowing down here on pit road. Another driver who has to have a head full of emotions is standing by with John Curtin.
Jerry, the whole season has been an emotional roller coaster for Davey Allison. A lot of people say for what he's been through, he deserves to win this championship. And hard work and perseverance have paid off. Davey, you are in the lead heading in here to the last race. How you holding up, buddy?
I'll tell you, John, right now I'm just incredibly nervous. I don't think I've ever been this nervous in my life, but we're excited. A lot of anticipation going around right now. A lot of hard work by this team has paid off to get us to where we are, but we want to earn this championship today.
Well, you're going to have to earn it. The car yesterday running great in the afternoon. In fact, you didn't take it out late, so you must feel pretty good about it.
Well, we ran the early morning practice session, and we ran real good. We were real happy with the way the car drove, and went out in the afternoon practice session, and again, it was really good. We made a couple of minor adjustments, but we think we're in pretty good shape. We just want to have an event-free race, and try to stay out of trouble, and be around at the end.
Davey Allison hoping not only to win the race, but also to wrap up the championship, but it won't be easy. He has to finish in at least 5th place to clinch the title.
We finally have a championship that all the drivers have to run as hard as they can go. Don't you think, Ned? They got to go for it.
Oh, yeah, they got to go for the win. And if Davey Allison has a car capable of running in the top 5, he has a car capable of winning the race. So they got to go all out. And, man, that's exciting. Have 6 drivers that are in the championship hunt in the last race of the season, and Richard Petty retiring at the same time.
You must be pretty excited. Ned has lost his voice. He's going to be up here. He's going to try to help us through the day. And, folks, we are entering one of the most exciting races ever in Winston Cup racing.
We've tried to tell ourselves that it's just another race, but it isn't. A lot of pre-race activity has gone on and is going on right now. As you can see, the American flag being brought down by a parachutist. Now, Alabama about ready to sing the national anthem.
And you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land
And now, ladies and gentlemen, again, I must ask you to clear the wheel fins. We're only moments away. We'll be going back down trackside for the spectacular words you've been waiting on for the running of the Hooters 500. Everyone, please take a seat in the grandstands. Let's clear pit road. Let's clear pit road, please.
Stand for, Betty.
Betty, start your engine.
That's just a bit of rehearsal going on down there. From Kyle.
Well, there will be two gentlemen start your engines given here today. The Petty children have already told Daddy to start his engine. I'm not so sure that he heard the command because he seems to be sitting patiently in his race car. But the other 40 now competitors await the command for them to start their engine as we get set to wrap things up in the 1992 season.
Richard says his only quiet time and time of being alone is when he's strapped down in that race car, and that's exactly where he's at this very moment as we get close to the command. We must clear pit road. A quick reminder.
You can see the tremendous crowd that has gathered here to watch this final event of the year, and there are a lot of people on pit road for the pre-race ceremonies that now must be cleared away before we can start the engines and have the cars move down pit road and then on to this 1.5-mile racetrack to begin 328 laps of competition that will make up the Hooters 500.
Richard Petty says so long as a driver and hello as a car owner.
A final interview going on now as Richard Petty has already got the helmet on, awaiting the word to move out and begin a warm-up lap. Atlanta Motor Speedway has seen many improvements in the last few years, and it has built more grandstands than you can imagine for this event. Last year there were over 122,000 people that attended this race, and many more grandstand seats have been built.
Start your engine!
Have been released from inside the pit area, flying over the main grandstand here on the straightaway, and there are some Apache helicopters that will do a flyover in recognition of this race here today. Richard Petty's final ride and the championship decided. The entire eyes of the sports world are focused here today on Atlanta Motor Speedway. And we're glad that you could be part of our ESPN Speed World coverage. Brought to you by Hooters Restaurants, always delightfully tacky yet unrefined. By Valvoline, people who know use Valvoline. And by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? 41 cars and drivers set to go on this beautiful Sunday afternoon, and we'll have the starting lineup right after this. 4 Apache helicopters hover over Atlanta Motor Speedway as we get set for the Hooters 500. The command to start engines has already been given. The cars are warming up on pit lane, and in just a moment we'll be moving out onto the racetrack for about 3 warm-up laps. Now, here is the die-hard starting lineup on the pole for this event. For the first time in his career and the first driver to crack 180 miles an hour on this facility, Rick Mast in the Flash Food Skoal Classic Racing. Car number 1. Outside the front row will be Brett Bodine in the number 26 Quaker State Ford. The second row, the defending Winston Cup champion Dale Earnhardt in the GM Goodwrench Chevrolet, car number 3. And then the first of those eligible for the championship here today in the Valvoline Ford, car number 6, Mark Martin. Row number 3, it's Ernie Irvin in the Kodak Film Chevrolet, car number 4. And then the Sunoco Chevrolet, car number 94, driven by Terry Labonte. Dick Trickle will start in 7th position. He drives number 8, the Snickers Ford. Jeff Bodine flanks him in the 4th row in number 15, Motorcraft Ford. Morgan Shepherd starts 9th in the Citgo Ford car 21, and then the Purolator Chevrolet car number 10, driven by Derek Cope. Bill Elliott starts 11th in the Budweiser Ford car number 11, looking for his second Winston Cup championship. Alongside him will be his teammate Sterling Marlin in the Maxwell House Coffee Ford car number 22. The 7th row, Lake Speed in the Purex Detergent Ford car number 83, and second in points, Alan Kulwicki in the Hooters Ford car number 7. The 8th row, it's Rusty Wallace in the Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac and Ricky Rudd in the Tide Chevrolet. Davey Allison will start inside of row number 9 in the Texaco Haviland Ford number 28, and then Jimmy Spencer in the Rebestos Ford car number 12. The 10th row, Hut Strickland, who's driving today the Kellogg's Ford number 41, and then Kyle Petty in the Mellow Yellow Pontiac. And as you look at the rest of the starting lineup, note that Jeff Gordon, who will be making his first Winston Cup start here today, will go from inside row number 11.
And Jeff Gordon has been one of the fastest cars in practice. They were down here last week practicing. Jeff Gordon was fast. He's been fast Friday and Saturday. So maybe we could see something out of the 21-year-old. And I think it's fantastic that Jeff Gordon is running his first race when Richard Petty is running his last race.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, in the testing that they had down here last week, Jeff Gordon did achieve a lap over 181 miles an hour, but he had a few problems in his original qualifying, took the second day qualifying and became the fastest second day qualifier. We have a true oval that we're racing on here this afternoon, kind of unlike most other tracks on the NASCAR Winston Cup circuit of this size. At least it's 1.5 miles in length. The pole speed is 180.183, a time of 30.409 seconds. We'll go 328 laps this afternoon, and the field is separated by just about 0.8 of a second.
The problem with the racetrack, the corners are so long. Each turn is a half mile. Each straightaway a quarter mile. And there we see pit road, only one pit road on the front straightaway at the start finish line. There's turns 1 and 2. Once again, a half mile long bank, 24 degrees. Same thing for 3 and 4. So the drivers, we can see the banking at 24 degrees. The straightaways are banked 5 degrees. And Bob, this is a tough racetrack physically on the drivers because of being in the corner so much.
All the drivers will say it's one of the toughest tracks because you are turning almost constantly. The Apache helicopters continue to hover overhead as the field now begins to get in formation. Richard Petty, as he has done at every race this year on the Fan Appreciation Tour, is leading this first parade lap, and then he will fall back into his regularly assigned spot, which today is 39th. And we have an in-car camera riding with the King this afternoon on his final event. There it is, looking out the back to the other 40 starters. Jimmy Hensley will also carry one of our in-car cameras, the Phillips 66 in-car camera, as he is going through the banking in turns number 3 and 4. There's Sterling Marlin in the Maxwell House Ford car number 22. He also will carry an in-car camera for us here this afternoon.
Yeah, I got you.
There's Mark Martin's car number 6, the Valvoline Ford, with an in-car cameras.
Morgan Shepherd will have the roof cam. That ought to be fun.
Ought to be fantastic. And what a crowd we have. Look at the fans. Waving to the drivers as they go down the front straightaway. Now Richard will fall back into his starting position, as you said.
The Apache helicopters now end their hover and begin to chase the field as it goes around this 1.5 mile oval.
I expect the race cars to win this race.
It is quite a spectacle, though, to see all of this pre-race activity and to end the season on this tremendous note. It's been a great season, but to think that we have 6 drivers eligible to win the championship depending upon what happens in the next 328 laps is absolutely unbelievable. Look at the altitude that this helicopter is.
What do you mean altitude?
There's hardly any altitude at all, is there?
Exactly.
He's not more than 25 feet off the ground down the backstretch, now moving up a little bit to clear the grandstands as they fly by us.
When I said they might win this race, I meant when the race cars are up to full speed, not when they're going around on a pace lap.
That's right. But the fans are loving it. There isn't a single person gathered here this afternoon who is seated. Everybody is up. Everybody is anticipating the start of the race. And there's a lot at stake money-wise. $778,187 will go to the winner of this event here today. The Unical bonus, if Rick Mast can win, is worth $15,200.
No. The winner won't get $778,000. That's the total purse.
The total purse.
The winner will get about $75,000.
Yeah, pretty good share of it.
Not too bad. And we're also racing for the Winston Cup Point Fund, which is worth $2 or $3 million. So $3 or $4 million at stake today.
Million drivers goes to the champion, of course. One of 6 drivers. There's the in-car camera with the king, Richard Petty. He's fallen back into 39th position now. And in one more lap, he will get this race underway.
Don't you know he's
Okay, guys.
he and Davey Allison. Of course, Richard, I don't think he's showing his emotion the way that Davey is. We could tell that Davey, I talked to him earlier, he really is nervous.
It's kind of unusual to hear a driver admit that he is nervous before a race. But if things go the way they tell me they go with race drivers, at this point, now that the car has started, he's within a half lap of going green. He's forgotten all that and is calmed down now and ready to race. The Apache helicopters salute the field now as they fly over the infield, and they will be going on past the second turn, and all eyes will then be focused upon the field.
And they'll go wherever helicopters go.
Yeah, exactly.
Rick Mast winning his very first pole position in Winston Cup competition. 28 drivers have led a lap in 1992, but not Rick Mast. He has not led a race since Darlington in September of last year. Let's see if he does lead lap number 1.
Quite a shock when Rick Mast won the pole position on qualifying Friday afternoon.
The crowd rises to its feet, salutes the field as it comes down. The green flag waves, and the Hooters 500 is underway. Oh, and we have a spin. Bodine is in the fence. So is Rick Mast.
Oh, no. Davey got through. Kyle Petty got through. I think I saw Alan Kowicki on the bottom of the racetrack getting through.
There are 4 or 5 cars that are heavily damaged. The caution flag is Bill Elliott got through.
Then they're racing back to the
Kowicki.
line. They're racing back to the line, trying to lead a lap. Here they come. Mark Martin trying desperately to lead a lap and get 5 bonus points.
But Dale Earnhardt won't win.
Rick Mast, the pole sitter, is heavily damaged in the right front and in the right rear of the car. The accident occurred as the cars went into turn number 1 after they had completed just 1 lap. Here's what happened. Bodine was in the lead as they crossed the stripe, but Rick Mast was right there on the outside, and then Brett's car got out from under him.
Got out from under him. Rick Mast spins, and we see all the cars going by on the inside. And Mark Martin, what a great job he's doing saving that automobile. Kowicki turned the car left. Now here comes, who is that yellow car? Is that 41?
I believe it.
Is that Hud Strickland in the Kellogg's Cornflakes car? We see Kyle Petty going right through the middle of that. Here's another angle. What happens is that Rick Mast on the outside of Brett Bodine takes all the cushion away, and he's not able to get any air.
And Earnhardt ran right up under Brett Bodine, which took the air off the spoiler, and the cushion was gone from the outside. He didn't have anything to lean on.
No, he had no air at all to lean on.
From Airship Shamu hovering overhead. Good perspective of the crash and how most people avoid it. There is Hut Strickland's contact with Brett Bodine.
We see some sheet metal going across, and there is that Rich Bickle. Looks like Rich Bickle spinning out. And there is, looks like maybe Jimmy Spencer also.
Remember now, we have seen Davey Allison, Alan Kulwicki, and Bill Elliott. There is Elliott right behind Morgan Shepherd. All three of those cars appear to be okay and did not get involved in the second lap accident here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. We'll be right back. Today at Atlanta Motor Speedway for the Hooters 500, the 29th and final race of the 92 season for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. And we've had an accident on the second lap as 6 cars were involved in this incident. Wally Dallenbach Jr. and Rich Bickle spun. 4 others have received some damage. They are Brett, Rick, Hutt, and Jimmy Spencer. Now the exciting Gillette Halfway Challenge is coming up in today's race. The driver leading at the halfway lap will win $10,000, and you, a fan at home, will have a chance to win a beautiful Chevrolet Lumina Z34. If you've entered the contest for this race and your entry is selected and you are called at home, you must name the driver who wins the Gillette Halfway Challenge $10,000 award to be eligible to win the Chevrolet Lumina Z34. Dale Earnhardt is the leader of the race while the cleanup goes on over in turns number 1 and 2.
Let's watch Davey Allison as he goes through the wreck. There's Jimmy Spencer right in front of him. Davey is trying to get his car slowed. Spencer goes high. Davey slows down dramatically. Kyle Petty, Jeff Gordon, that's Jeff in the 24 car. Ted Musgrave comes down. Luckily, he didn't run in the back of Davey Allison. Let's watch Bill Elliott as he gets through the crash. He's following Derek Cope. Sterling Martin. There's Alan Kulwicki right behind him, and they drive into the smoke. See if they had any close calls. Ooh, yes.
Yeah.
In Kulwicki, we saw him just turn left.
Now we have cameras isolated on the 3 main contenders. That's why we can show you how each got through the crash.
Here's Kulwicki. We're on the 7 car. Watch him turn the car left and almost get hit by Ricky Rudd as he turned left. Now they got to worry about the 1 car coming down. Both of them got by.
Dr. Jerry Punch is in Davey Allison's pit.
Guys, a lot of concern down here in Davey Allison's pit. Now, Larry McReynolds behind me has been talking to Davey. Let me try to grab Joey Knuckles quickly. Joey, the concern is the damage on the left rear. What would that do to the car here early in the race?
Well, Jimmy Spencer pulled up there and told us that it's not going to rub. What we're concerned with is the air getting up inside the trunk. The way it's pulled out, it's pulled apart from our crush panel, so that's going to kind of act like a parachute. We'll run till we get a caution. We don't want to pit right now and get at the end of that pack. You know, the good Lord was looking out for us. That's all that happened to us, but we can fix it once we start pitting. We'll just push it in.
And the crush panel now is the panel inside the tire well in the left rear that keeps air from getting inside the tire, and more importantly inside the trunk that would create a parachute or balloon effect, as he said, and slow the car down drastically. You'll have to run with it for right now and hope for an early caution. Guys?
I tell you, that was a big decision that they had to make. They got a caution right now. This is an early caution, but as Joey Knuckles says, they don't want to go to the rear of the pack here, but still, if that thing should give them any problems at all in the handling, you know, it could come back to bite them.
Once again, here is a replay.
And there's Davey Allison. There's 41 car right behind him, Hud Strickland. Ooh, and Davey backs off. Hud goes in, hits him in the rear.
And that shot Hud down into the 26 car.
Exactly. And I said Jimmy Spencer was in the crash. I think that was Bob Shack instead of Spencer that I saw backed up against the wall.
Well, there's Davey, and there is the damage that you can see on the left rear of that car. Mark Martin has made a pit stop. He's on pit road right now. So is Michael Waltrip. And Jerry, can you see what's going on there?
We can, Bob. They're changing all 4 tires on the Valvoline Ford. They decided that he had run through some debris. Don't want to take any chances here. You know, they're on the radial tires, and it's a very good tire. And as we all know, the radials are very difficult to cut. But they ran across some sheet metal and some sharp objects up there in the turn and said, why take a chance? It's early on. We got a caution. We'll start back here and hope that we'll have no problems and we can pick our way through the field. So possibly a little bit of a gamble early on to come in and change all 4 tires.
Here is a replay from Mark Martin's in-car camera. Let's listen.
I tell you what, folks, that looked like a small wiggle, but that was no small wiggle. That was tough.
Mark Martin makes it through, but makes a pit stop here in the early going. Well, Dale Earnhardt is the leader of the race as we remain under caution here in the Hooters 500 at Atlanta Motor Speedway. We remain under caution here at Atlanta because of an accident on the second lap involving about 4 or 5 cars. Brett Bodine, the car most heavily damaged. Rick Mast, the pole sitter, also involved. There's a hot air balloon overhead carrying the number 43. And at the conclusion of this event, we urge you to stay tuned for a very special salute. The Portrait of a King, a special program devoted to Richard Petty. It is, believe me, worth staying with us for after this event. Portrait of a King immediately following our live telecast of the Hooters 500. Here's Jerry Punch.
Bob, how quickly fortunes can change for a driver. Rick Mast picking up his first career pole is now behind the wall in the Skoal Classic Olds, and Rick still sitting in the car. Rick, what happened up there?
Jerry, I'm not sure. We're going the corner, you know, the first lap of the race. I'm on the outside of Brett. I don't know what happened. You know, he got into me, but I think something must have happened to him. Somebody got into him or something. I'm not sure. You know, I was trying to stay high, just stay in one groove, so you know, it wouldn't be any problems. Boom, it's over with. We had a good car, but you know, we'll be back come Daytona.
You talk about the emotions. You can see Rick Mast in the car. You can hear it in his voice. They're working on the car, but his day in the sun, guys, his pole, everything he was hoping for is gone.
But we'll remember Rick Mast as being the pole sitter for this historical event here at Atlanta, despite the fact that he is not going to win the race. He was the pole sitter and the first to crack the 180-mile-an-hour barrier officially. There's Davey Allison, and again, note the damage in the left rear of that car. We don't know yet how it's going to affect the handling because we have not been under green since it occurred, but we will be watching it very closely when the green flag does come out. Alan Kowicki and Bill Elliott are still okay. Their cars were not damaged in that incident. As the cleanup continues down in turn number 1, we'll get some brakes out of the way so we can bring you as much action as we possibly can on this historic day in Atlanta. Joining us today is Airship Shamu. The SeaWorld blimp measures 194 feet in length, 67 feet tall. That's 2/3 the length of a football field and nearly 7 stories high, providing some great shots from overhead. Atlanta focused in right now on King Richard Petty as he gets ready to restart this race, and the word has been given we'll go green next time around.
Now, Richard Petty was one driver. There were many that made pit stops during this caution, Bob. Some were involved over there, some were not. Richard Petty was not, but he did come in for a pit stop, so he's back near the rear of the field.
Dale Earnhardt will lead them down for the restart. Ernie Irvan will go from second position. Lights on top of the pace car are out. Look at how close it was for Dale Earnhardt.
I'm telling you. Oh, man. What was that, inches?
Yeah, if Brett's car had slid just inches to the inside to the outside, they would have collected Earnhardt. Dale, by the way, only looking for his second win of the 1992 season, and more importantly, looking to get into the top 10 in the point standings. He goes into this event in 11th position. And so he's trying to make the top 10 so that, among other things, his expenses to the banquet in New York City at the Waldorf Astoria will be paid by NASCAR. Here's the green flag. We're back to racing.
Here they are, 3 abreast coming off the second corner. Kowicki drove up on the outside of Elliott, made it 3 abreast. Meanwhile, Rusty Wallace trying to get by Kowicki. That was on the inside of Bill Elliott.
First 4 cars actually have broken away from the rest of the field. There's Bill Elliott and Alan Kowicki running nose to tail. Sterling Marlin behind Allen.
These cars going in these turns at about 200 miles an hour.
This is from Sterling Marlin's viewpoint as he's right behind Alan Kulwicki coming down the main straightaway into turn number 1 again. Eric Cope and Morgan Shepherd are nearly side by side. Elliott's car slides up the racetrack a little, and Alan Kulwicki moves to the inside.
Eric Cope got a good run going, so does Morgan Shepherd. Here's Kulwicki on the inside of Elliott.
2 of the 3 competitors trying to win the win. Actually, 2 of the 6 that have a mathematical shot, but realistically, only about 3 have a shot at winning the title here. Allison, Elliott, and Kulwicki.
Yeah, those 3 would just about have to fall out of the race for any of the other 3 to have a shot.
John Kernan has a report on Hut Strickland.
Bob, they've just put Hut into an ambulance. They're going to take him to a nearby hospital to check him out further. Hut is able to stand up. He's alert, but his neck is very stiff. He's complaining of a stiff neck, so they are taking him by ambulance to a local hospital, mostly as a precautionary measure. Now, Brett Bodine is still in the infield medical center. They are checking out him, and we'll update you on Brett's condition as soon as we know more.
So Hut Strickland ends his 1992 season on a very sour note, but he has great hopes for 1993 as he'll be involved with the Junior Johnson team and McDonald's sponsorship for the 93 season. Look at this, Morgan Shepherd.
Ooh, he almost collects Elliott.
He had to get all the way out of the gas.
And here's a lead change. Ernie Irvin, Kodak Film Chevrolet, has taken the lead from Earnhardt.
Earnhardt's crew chief, Kirk Shelmerdine, has announced his retirement. This will be his final race as crew chief for the Richard Childress team and Dale Earnhardt. He's not going anywhere else. He's retiring from the business. Right now, Earnhardt is second, following Ernie Irvin. And gentlemen, it's very obvious, I think, to everybody that there is so much emotion, there is so much on the line here, that this is going to be an incredible afternoon. And here's evidence of that as Morgan Shepherd got a little sideways.
Same kind of a situation as Brett Bodine and Rick Mast. They go in the corner and there's no air to lean on, no cushion for Morgan Shepherd. That car's on the outside. He loses control, almost loses control, and Elliott had to say, man, and here's the lead change, a replay of the lead change just a moment ago as Ernie Irvin down the front straightaway, position on Earnhardt, takes a spot away.
Ernie continues to hang on to the lead with Earnhardt running in second position. Right behind him, Jeff Bodine is third. Lamonte is in fourth position. Ernie Irvin is 10th in the point standings, so that's the position that Earnhardt wants.
Tell you what, that red car, Jeff Bodine is gaining on the front too.
Bud Moore's cars always run strong on this racetrack. Remember Morgan Shepherd? Let's see, who won in his car here a few years ago? Yeah, Morgan Shepherd
Rudd.
did. Yeah,
Ricky
Rudd won
the
here,
race, yeah.
and Morgan Shepherd won here.
There's Napa Field summary, the way the cars crossed the line last lap. Jeff Gordon running in 16th position. Interesting statistic, as we mentioned, that Richard Petty is making his 1185th start in NASCAR Winston Cup competition. If the schedule remains the same at 29 or 30 races, Jeff Gordon will start his 1185th NASCAR Winston Cup race when he is 61 years old.
Wow.
Now, Bill Elliott is side by side with his teammate, Sterling Marlin, in the battle for 6th position.
And if Junior calls Sterling and tells him to back off, I don't think he will.
Junior will not, rather, Hut, let's make it Sterling Marlin will not be driving for Junior next year. This is his final race with the Junior Johnson team.
You think it'd be like what Dick Beatty said in the drivers' meeting this morning? Les Richter, the competition director for all of NASCAR, introduced Dick Beatty. Of course, this is Dick Beatty's last race as the competition director for the Winston Cup Series. And he said, no, Beatty was introducing Richter and said, here's my boss. He said, until dark.
There is Davey Allison.
is 1-2. Kawicki second in the Winston Cup standings. Davey Allison leading. Kawicki took off like he had a good race car, like he was going to the front. He now is mired down and really can't make the passes.
And Davey's car doesn't appear to be that much affected by the damage in the left rear.
Well, he seems to be able to run with the crowd okay.
There is Bill Elliott and Sterling Marlin. Sterling is 6th, Bill is 7th.
Saw Kawicki, he was able to get by Ricky Rudd, so he moved up one spot.
5th is Rusty Wallace. 4th is Terry Labonte. 3rd is Jeff Bodine. 2nd is Earnhardt, and the leader is Ernie Irvan. Laps out of 328 have been completed in the Hooters 500 here in Atlanta. We'll be back with more live coverage after this.
This season, Bill Elliott's doing something he's never done before. He's driving the 670 horsepower Budweiser Thunderbird. But only after Junior says it's okay.
Three-car battle up front in the Hooters 500 at Atlanta Motor Speedway, the finale of the 92 NASCAR Winston Cup season. Irvin, Dale Earnhardt, and Jeff Bodine are 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. The leader in the points standings, Davey Allison, is back in 11th position. And if points were awarded right now, Allison would emerge as the champion by 20 over Elliott. As Elliott is now running in 6th, Kawicki 9th, Kyle 13th, Gant 24th, and Mark Martin 22nd, but Mark Martin is on the move.
Yeah, he made a pit stop during that caution flag and was behind a lot of equipment, but he is definitely on the move.
Now we're riding with Mark Martin as he has chased down this pack.
So he started 40th. He's now to 17th. That's 16th directly in front of him. Let's watch the telemetry as he goes down the corner. He's accelerating off the corner, 171. Let's just see what kind of miles per hour he'll run at the end of the straightaway. Mile and a half racetrack, 100 and telemetry's not quite right. 189 miles an hour is the maximum we saw. Watch the RPM.
Got up to 190. This is the 3rd fastest racetrack on the schedule next to Talladega and Daytona. And now Jeff Bodine looks to the inside of Dale Earnhardt. Coming off the 4th turn.
And both these cars have caught Ernie Irvan, and I think right now they're in the ride mode. I think they're just trying to take it easy. This is a 500-mile race. There's no point in taking too much chances right now.
Jerry Punch has an update on Davey Allison.
Following the damage on Davey's car, the crew just shared with me moments ago, Bob, that Davey said he's got a slight push just coming off the corner. Otherwise, Davey said, hey, guys, we might have gotten very, very lucky. Let's check in down with John Kernan at the hospital. John?
Well, Jerry, some good news for Brett Bodine. Kenny Bernstein, his car owner, just told me moments ago that he is okay, but they will take him to the hospital to check out his head. Kenny said that Brett took a pretty hard hit on his head. They think he's okay. They just want him to go to the hospital just to make sure. So some really encouraging news from the Infield Medical Center.
And so the 2 drivers that we had medical concern about, Hut Strickland and Brett Bodine, are apparently not seriously injured, although both will be taken to a local hospital. That because of the accident that occurred in turn number 1 at the beginning of lap number 2.
And we see that Mark Martin has been able to get by Morgan Shepherd and Davey Allison, not that many cars in front of him. Davey trying to get by Jerry Cope with Pure Leader Chevrolet.
Now here comes Kyle Petty.
We saw the damage to the rear of Davey Allison's car that could affect his rear spoiler. Remember, yesterday in the ARCA race, part of the spoiler blew off of an automobile. I guess, who was that? That was Mickey Gibbs' car. Here comes Kowicki trying to get by Sterling Marlin, the Maxwell House car. And he makes him pass. But part of Mickey Gibbs' spoiler came off when he went down the corner, and around he went. And Davey Allison obviously doesn't have those problems, but it could affect the car. The bent sheet metal in the rear of the Hamlin Ford.
Kowicki just took 7th position from Sterling Marlin. Riding with Sterling now.
All this fellas riding up the center to the top of the racetrack. During qualifying, the preferred groove on the bottom of the racetrack. As the tires get worn, they move up the racetrack.
Looking for Davey Allison. Here he comes out of the pack to try to pass Jeff Gordon, the number 24 car.
And Mark Martin has gotten by Davey Allison. He has passed him. He is marching towards the front fast in that 6th Valvoline Ford, that blue and white car. Right in the center of the screen. That's Mark Martin. Seems to have one of the fastest cars on the track now. He's jammed up in traffic, can't get by.
Yeah, those cars have run side by side, Derek Cope and Kyle Petty, for about 4 laps now. Mark just doesn't have anywhere to go. He doesn't know which one to follow.
Kyle inches ahead now of Derek Cope in the 3rd turn, but Cope battles back on the outside. There come 3 wide. Look at Mark Martin, his car below the white line.
Wow.
Jeff Gordon is tucked right in behind Mark Martin, while Davey is drafting on Kyle Petty.
And Davey has gotten by Jeff Gordon on the outside. That's Kenny Schrader, the white car, right in the middle of the screen.
And Lake Speed also. Morgan Shepherd is in this group.
Davey tries to go by on the outside of Kyle Petty.
One thing about Atlanta, it's a 1.5 miles, and there's a lot of corner, but the turns are wide enough so you can ride 2 and 3 and sometimes even 4 wrestling here.
Yes, you can. And here goes Mark Martin. Now he's trying to get by Derek Cope. Is he going to have any more luck than Kyle Petty did? Let's see.
Boy, Cope is having a good run, and maybe he has something to prove. He is back with the Whitcomb team in '93. Now this pack that we're watching is about a half a lap behind those running up front, including Ernie Irvin, Dale Earnhardt, and Jeff Bodine.
Dale Earnhardt has taken over the lead now and pulled away a little bit from Ernie Irvin.
Here's Martin once again trying. He's clear of him now. Three of those cars that you see in the top 6 in the Winston Cup point standings: Mark Martin, Kyle Petty, and Davey Allison. That's Kyle Petty, the green and black car on the bottom.
Mark Martin has moved into 11th, and that's how far they are behind those that are running up front. There is King Richard Petty.
About to go a lap down to Earnhardt. There's the leader, Dale Earnhardt, directly behind Richard. We're looking at from the camera on top, Richard Petty's STP Pontiac. And we see Earnhardt has pulled out to a 15-20 car length advantage on Ernie Irvin.
He found that high groove about 15 laps ago, Benny, and it's working for him. The way his car is set up right now, Earnhardt just took off.
So Dale Earnhardt is leading the Hooters 500 with Richard Petty down a lap now. Irvin, Bodine, Wallace, and Elliott complete the top 5. We have cameras everywhere at Atlanta Motor Speedway as we televise this final Winston Cup race of the year, watching the suspension on Mark Martin's car.
It takes a beating, though.
It does take a beating. It never stops going up and down, up and down.
And now on Jimmy Hensley's car.
It's a rear tire here. And again, once again, it's going up and down. Never stops.
how about Morgan Shepherd? And isn't it interesting that the sponsors have managed to find where we have our cameras and put their signature on it.
I tell you what, Ned, that's a trick spring there. I've never seen a spring like that in a rear car.
I didn't know Sit and Go made a spring.
No, I didn't.
The top 5, Dale Earnhardt, Ernie Irvan, Jeff Bodine, Rusty Wallace, and Bill Elliott, as 44 of 328 laps have been completed. Points as of now, look how close it is. 4 separating Allison and Kulwicki. Elliott is 3rd in the points if they were to be awarded right now, but we've got a long way to go. And Ernie Irvan has caught Dale Earnhardt. Dale was several car lengths ahead a few laps ago, and Ernie now has caught up with him.
Well, I think Ned pointed out that Dale Earnhardt started running the high groove and was able to pass Ernie Irvan. Irvan saw Earnhardt up there and said, hey, I think I'll venture up and see what's happening up there. When he did that, he closed up on the back bumper of Dale Earnhardt. Now, Jeff Bodine has been running on the bottom of the racetrack. He's ventured up to the top of the racetrack, and he seems to be getting a little closer. Well, we see him on the bottom right there, but he's closed up on the back bumper of Irvan, or almost on the back bumper.
Jimmy Means goes a lap down in the Hurley limo car. Sponsorship on that this week. That's the black car there at the bottom of the racetrack.
There's Rich Bickle on the black and green car that Earnhardt's going by. There goes Rusty Wallace. There's Bill Elliott. Got a good run going in the same straightaway.
So certainly among those eligible for the championship, Bill is furthest up in the standings right now and having the best run. But
I think Quick is just one position behind Bill. Yes, that's correct. We don't see him in the picture, but he is the next car behind Bill Elliott. So right now, Kulwicki is in front of Elliott as far as points are concerned.
Before in 1988 he won the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship, so in that respect he is a veteran, so to speak. And there is Alan Kulwicki.
And Irvan tries to get on the inside of Earnhardt down in 1 and 2. Not able to make it, and I tell you what, Jeff Bodine has caught this duo.
Jeff is hanging in there in 3rd spot. There he is, running the low part of the track.
That's one high down in 1 and 2. Here goes Davey Allison trying to get by Sterling Marlin. But you see, now he is driving defense. Oh, there's that car down there, Jimmy Horton. The Active Racing Chevrolet was on the bottom of the racetrack. That's why Davey backed off.
Yeah, he didn't need to get in there and get himself in a position like
Jerry O'Neill,
ran up on a car, ran into it.
And they're in the leader, so Davey almost exactly a half a lap down. Here's Irvan once again. Jeff still, now he is back on the bottom of the racetrack. Here he comes on the bottom.
Especially in turns 1 and 2, the bottom groove is working for some drivers, Benny, but the cars on the outside have the momentum once they come off of that turn to shoot down that backstretch in a hurry.
Jeff pulls alongside Ernie in the 3rd turn and passes him. Let's see if he can make it stick. Yeah, he will be able to. Bodine takes over 2nd spot, dropping Ernie Irvan to 3rd. Davey Allison picks up another position, or at least is trying desperately to. Of course, is Sterling Marlin on the outside.
Oh, that's close, close, close. Davey did clear him.
Yep. Ken Schrader also there in the battle with now Sterling Marlin.
He started pretty far back in the field and is moving on up through there. He started in 23rd position, now in 14th.
And Schrader passes Sterling Marlin. You got a shot there as Davey was close to Sterling Marlin of the damage that was sustained by the Texaco Havoline Ford in that 2nd lap crash. Now, Jeff Bodine would like to lead this race. Drops to the inside, but cannot have the momentum to pass.
Boy, running 2 distinct different grooves around the racetrack. Earnhardt high on the racetrack. Bodine on the bottom. They could run around this racetrack and never touch. And run almost at top speed in both cars.
Jeff Modine is trying to lead his 5th race of 1992. He has not led since he won 2 races in a row at Martinsville and North Wilkesboro.
He moves up high again. It just looks like right now these 3 cars evenly matched. Talking about Earnhardt in the black number 3, Jeff Bodine, the red 15, Ernie Irvin, the yellow number 4.
Jerry Punch has a comment on Dale Earnhardt.
Guys, Richard Childress just told me a minute ago that Earnhardt radioed the crew that he thinks he may have broken a valve spring. The car is beginning to flutter a little bit, not running as strong as it was early on. He's running awfully well, but he said the car is starting to flutter a little more. You won't know when they make their first pit stop, which should be in about 6 or 7 laps.
Well, I could believe that because what Earnhardt has done when he's moved up high on the racetrack, he's made it a larger racetrack, so the RPMs are going to be excessive, which the first thing on high RPMs, the first thing you break is a valve spring.
We'll watch the situation very closely regarding the driver who now leads the Hooters 500, Dale Earnhardt. We'll be back with more in just a moment at Atlanta.
Welcome back to Atlanta Motor Speedway. Dale Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace almost contact on pit road. Earnhardt has run out of fuel. He radioed the crew just a moment ago, said the fuel pressure gauge has fluctuated. Guys, I got to come in now. And Rusty Wallace is pushing him, trying to give him an assistance down pit road. They are running very, very slowly, and Earnhardt is totally out of fuel. The car number 3 is not running. He is coasting down pit road. Richard Childress and the crew standing here with a bottle of ether to try to get the car refired. And now it quietly, can you believe the luck that Dale Earnhardt has had in 1992? The Goodrich crew goes to work. They will change all 4 tires down here. And Kyle Petty is making an entrance on the pit road. Let's go to John Kernan.
Jerry, they've already done right side tires, left side. What's going on? Kyle gets down and away. A pretty fast pit stop for the Mellow Yellow crew. Back down pit road to Jerry Punch.
Work going on the right side and left side for the Kodak Film Chevrolet for Ernie Irvin, who would have been the lead car. They put right side tires on, the crew scampering around. They are pushing Dale Earnhardt's car. Why? Instead, that car fired, and now Earnhardt's car does refire as the Purelator car goes by. And the car number 4 going out. Here is Jeff Bodine leaving pit road. And the car number 30 has spun. The Pennzoil Pontiac has spun. We should be seeing caution here at Atlanta.
We do see caution. Doyle Ford is waving the caution flag because of Michael Waltrip's spin.
Unbelievable. All these guys ran out of fuel, and before some of the cars could make their pit stop, the caution comes out as Michael Waltrip, the Pennzoil Pontiac, comes off the corner, and around he goes.
No contact with any other driver. The car just broke loose at the top of the racetrack in turn 2, and then he backed it into the wall on the back stretch, and then may have made contact. Don't think he did, but you can see the left front tire below there.
But boy, these points leaders, did they get Bill Elliott, Davey Allison, Alan Kawicki had not made their pit stops. These fellas have got several of good cars a lap down now. Man, Elliott is leading the race. That's 5 bonus points.
That helps him close the gap. Trying to win his 2nd Winston Cup championship. There he is, Bill Elliott leading the race. 2nd is Alan Kawicki.
Now then, when they make their pit stop, will Davey stay on the racetrack, lead the race, and get 5 bonus points? Will Kawicki? What do you think?
Well, I don't know. They're going to be giving up a lot of track position.
I know they are. Let's see how this plays out.
And
boy, don't you know these radios are going back and forth. What do we do? What do we do? Hey, guys, make that call. I'm not going. Here comes Bill. Here comes Alan.
Let's see what Davey does. Davey's to the inside. Yeah, he's coming in. Mark Martin is in. Ricky Rudd and others. Very slowly down pit road.
Cars that you see coming down pit road had not pitted. Jerry Punch, here they come.
And Alan Kawicki's Hooters crew will go to work on that car. Car number 7 on the bottom of your screen. You're watching the Haviland crew on the top of your screen. Two competing teams trying to win a race and win a championship. Watching the Haviland crew now. Right side, tires already going on. Left side, lug nuts coming off. They have fueled the car. They have yet to work on that body damage on the left rear of the Haviland car. Meanwhile, Alan Sawicki cannot get his car in gear. Finally gets in gear. The car number 11 exits pit road. That is the Budweiser car of Bill Elliott. And now Davey Allison heads back to turn 1.
Alan Sawicki had exactly that same problem in Charlotte during the running of the Mellow Yellow 500. Made the pit stop. When they let the jack down, he let the clutch out. The car would not move. Can't imagine what's wrong with that car, but he had exactly the same problem at Charlotte.
Elliott was the first to get off pit road.
And Kyle Petty, according to my calculations here, gentlemen, is the only driver of the 6 who are in the points chase who had made a green flag pit stop. He was coming out of the pits just as the caution was coming out.
Certainly it hurt Kyle Petty's chances of winning the championship here this afternoon, but again, we've got a long way to go as the second caution waves over Atlanta Motor Speedway. In his final NASCAR Winston Cup race is currently in 26th position. 65 starts here in Atlanta, 6 wins, 22 top 5 finishes. And we now recall another magical moment in Richard Petty's history in this Petty memory.
This Richard Petty memory is brought to you by the First Brands Corporation, makers of STP gas treatment. 1979, the championship is on the line between Richard Petty and Darrell Waltrip at Ontario, California. But the King collects his 7th title in what may have been his most challenging crown.
The most gratifying would have been the 7th championship in '79. It came down to the last race at California, at Ontario, California, and I think he was 3 points ahead of us or something like that, where one position would have made a difference. It was a deal that Buddy Baker, I think, would sit on pole, or he was up front and I was up front qualifying. And Buddy told me, he said, you know, said, we get out in front here right early, he said, I'll pull over and let you go and you get 5 points, so you'll get back in front of the point deal. So Darrell sort of seen what we was doing then, because then he's 2 points behind. So when they have the caution flag, then Darrell stays out to get his 5 points back. Well, when he does that, then when he does make his pit stop, he gets in the back of the line. Then somebody spins out, and Darrell's got to spin to miss him. He winds up losing a lap, and we wind up winning the point standing by 11 points or something like that.
He's back. This time we get him. STP gas treatment. Cleans intake valves and fuel injectors to help engines run better. STP, the edge.
Now, you can own the definitive documentary on the King, a production as hard driving as the man himself, Richard Petty, the legend. This limited edition 2-volume home video is sure to become a collector's item. You'll see all of the highlights from the greatest career in stock car racing history. 7 NASCAR championships, 7 Daytona 500 wins, 200 wins in all. But you'll also see Richard Petty, the businessman and family man, including never-before-seen home movies from the Petty's personal collection. Along with your video, you'll also receive this limited edition Petty collector's car. And if you order now, you'll also receive this free commemorative poster. To order, call 1-800-547-4343 or send $38.95 plus $5 shipping and handling to Richard Petty, the legend. 805B Franklin Court, Marietta, Georgia 30067.
Back at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and we are getting set to go green, but boy, the field looks pretty ragged, doesn't it?
Yeah,
They're not going to start them. They're not going to start them.
No, they can't start them this way. See what happened. There were some of those drivers that had made pit stops under the green. They did not come in now. Bill Elliott is the leader of the race, but there's about 4 or 5 cars in front of him that technically are in the lead lap. Elliott was trying to pull up on the outside. He can't do that. He's got to line up behind those drivers who are still in the lead lap in front of him.
See, Earnhardt is a lap down.
He's 2 laps down.
He's 2 laps down. I mean, he's a lap down, and 2 laps down once the leader should go by.
Does Alan Kulwicki have a problem, Jerry?
Bob, let's find out. We heard Alan having trouble leaving pit road. Danny Glad, is there a problem in the transmission?
Yeah, Jerry, the problem we run into is on these bigger racetracks where we have to run a taller rear end ratio. We have to run a lower first gear to get the car moving, and it's a brittle gear. They make a real expensive gear just for the application. We run it, but it's just a very brittle, it's hard on it. And we tore first gear out of transmission. We'll have to leave the pit road in second gear, but we'll be all right.
Alan Kulwicki minus first gear, guys, early on.
Let's take a look at the top 5 now. After 68 laps, it's Elliott leading. Kulwicki is second, followed by Ricky Rudd, Mark Martin, and Harry Gant. Now, the points as of this moment. Allison is in 6th position, but still maintains the points lead. Kulwicki is second, only 10 behind, and Bill Elliott is the leader of the race, and Elliott Kulwicki right now tied in the points. Back for the start after this. Bob Jenkins, Ned Jarrett, Benny Parsons, Jerry Punch, and John Kernan welcome you back to Atlanta Motor Speedway, where we are about to go green as the largest sports crowd in Georgia history looks on. Restarting the Hooters 500, the final race of the 1992 NASCAR Winston Cup Series.
You wouldn't believe the guy running about 10th is leading the race, but that's what's happening. Bill Elliott is the leader, and all these cars in front of Elliott laps down, trying to stay on the tail of the lead lap, and hope the caution flag comes out so they can get that lap back. And once again, gas has played into Bill Elliott's hands. Remember in the spring, he did not have the best car here, but he won the race because he stretched the fuel stop and caught all the other guys in the pits and a lap down.
Admittedly, Bill Elliott had about a 7th or 8th place finish car, but he played it very smart. He and the Junior Johnson team, they stayed out as long as they could, caught the yellow that they needed. That allowed Bill Elliott to win one of his 4 races in the early part of the 92 season.
Meanwhile, as we watch this, Ernie Irvin is driven by Dale Earnhardt. Remember how they led the race earlier on.
Here is Alan Kulwicki going to the inside of Bill, and this is the battle for the lead. And I believe Alan Kulwicki would get 5 bonus points for leading that lap. He was slightly ahead of Bill when they crossed the line.
And the point and the scoring stand is here at the start-finish line in Atlanta. If the scoring stand is another location, now here comes Rudd on the outside of Kulwicki.
Well, he will get credit for leading that lap, and thus has led in 20 races during the 1992 season, more than any other driver.
As I started to say, some racetracks have the scoring stand at different locations, and it does not matter if it's a start-finish line. It's at the scoring stand, the individual. There's Davey Allison, their points leader. Davey Allison right now is running in 6th spot.
This is from Morgan Shepherd's roof cam. Good documentation of the damage there on the left rear of Davey's car, sustained in that 2nd lap accident that took out Brett Bodine, Hunt Strickland, and sent them to local hospitals, but they are not seriously injured. At least that is the preliminary report. There's Harry Gant right ahead of Davey, and Harry is another one of those 6 that has a mathematical shot at the championship, but the word is that Harry is not feeling well. He has the flu and may at some point get relief. John?
Well, you're exactly right, Bob. I was talking with his car owner, Leo Jackson, this morning. He said the car was great, everything was great. The only thing that worried him, Harry had been sick all weekend with the flu. During that last caution period after making the pit stop, Harry radioed back in and said, hey, you might want to think about going and finding my Skoll teammate Rick Mast to see if he will relief drive for me if it gets to that point. But complicating that factor is the fact that Rick has finally got his car put back together, and Rick is about out there on the racetrack. So Harry's hanging with it right now. There's no relief driver yet who's reported to his pit area, but we will keep you apprised of the situation.
Rick Mast is on the racetrack. He's going very slowly. He was the point sitter of this race, certainly not on pace, but just trying to pick up some points in the standings. Looking back on Davey Allison from Richard Petty's in-car camera. Davey goes to the inside of Richard and passes him. points of watching that car either run in front of you, behind you, but probably more than not ahead of you.
Most of the time in front of me, yeah.
He was always right there.
As we watch Petty and Harry again, once again now Earnhardt has gotten back by Ernie Irvin, so I guess they're all a little more going up in front. Harry again is fourth in the points and is 97 points behind. But right now he is behind the three front runners on the racetrack. There's their lead of the race, Bill Elliott. Your second place car, Alan Kowicki. If Kowicki could get in front, lead a lap and go on and lead the most lap, put a lot of pressure on Davey Allison.
Kowicki leads that lap, but again, he's already picked up the 5 bonus points. And this is neat, gentlemen, seeing these two battle for the lead. As you pointed out so accurately in your stand-up opens, that we're not going to see any stroking today. No driver is going to run for 11th or better or 15th or better. All of these drivers that are in the hunt for the championship are flat out today.
And we see Mark Martin coming in the mix. He's had an awfully fast race car all afternoon so far.
And another one of the 6 eligible, or at least mathematically eligible to win the title. Look at Mark
come up on these two. Wow.
Another lap of field summary.
When he came up behind Kowicki, it got Allen just a little bit loose. Kowicki had to squeeze out the gas. He tried it one more time.
Watch them go high and Martin come in under them.
3 wide and 4. Martin may have the lead.
Let's see, here he comes.
Nope, Elliott led at the line. 23 cars remain on the lead lap.
Watch Martin go by Bill Elliott and take the lead. Is he in the lead?
Yes, sure is.
He's not a guy who made one of those early pit stops.
And a car goes slowly on the racetrack. That's Bob Schacht to number 57.
He's down in turn 1, so he will not be able to get back. So as a matter of fact, this car just stopped. The caution flag will be coming out in just a moment.
It's going to be a break for about 5 guys right up in front of Mark Martin. He is bearing down on him. But if the caution comes out, they're going to get to go around, and that would be Dale Earnhardt, Ernie Irvin, and the caution is out. Jeff Bodine, Rusty Wallace, and Terry Nevada get a break here.
It's the 3rd caution period of the day. There you can see Mark Martin signaling to the drivers behind him that the caution is out. These cars that are running ahead of Mark Martin will be able to encircle the entire racetrack.
What happens is that the pace car pulls on the racetrack in front of the leader of the race, Mark Martin, and everyone catches up to Mark Martin. So if Martin is the leader, all the fellows in front of him get to go all the way around the racetrack and make up basically a mile and a half.
There's the reason for the caution, the stall car of Bob Schacht at Atlanta Motor Speedway. We'll be right back. ESPN Speed World today at Atlanta Motor Speedway for the Hooters 500, the finale of the 1992 NASCAR Winston Cup season. We are under our 3rd caution period of the day because of Bob Schacht's stalled car. And the field now on the backstretch, but this is how they came out of the pit area after their pit stops.
First car we see on the end of pit road is Mark Martin. All these other cars coming in the pits. Jimmy Spencer was going out of the pits. Davey Allison comes out in first. Davey Allison is going to lead this race, Ned. And Davey Allison will pick up 5 bonus points. So evidently they changed 2 tires or something to get him back out in front.
I think they did. Well, tonight here on ESPN, it's the battle of the New York Giants against the Denver Broncos. The AFC West leading Broncos, led by strong-arm quarterback John Elway, take on the 5-4 New York Giants, who are battling to capture an NFC wild card. 8 o'clock tonight, 5 on the West Coast, the Giants and the Broncos. NFL Sunday Night Football here on ESPN. Once again, today's race includes the Gillette Halfway Challenge. $10,000 to the driver leading the halfway lap, and a lucky fan at home could win a new Chevrolet Lumina Z34. If you have entered the contest for this race and your entry is selected and you are called at home, you must name the driver who won the Gillette Halfway Challenge $10,000 reward to win the Chevrolet Lumina Z34. Now, let me tell you that the drivers that made up a lap, including Ernie Irvin, the 3-car of Dale Earnhardt, Rusty Wallace, Terry Labonte, and Jeff Bodine.
And there we see Bob Shack's car. They got the car started. Now he's come to a stop again at the start-finish line, so they got to get a wrecker out to push him up. And we see the Goodyear tires, the yellow. The Goodyear now is in yellow instead of the white we've seen for the last 15 years. So if you see these cars going down the racetrack and see yellow paint, it didn't come off of another race car. It came off. The tires are now yellow.
Here's Jerry Punch.
Guys, answering your question, Davey Allison did change just 2 tires, 2 right side tires. That'll explain that quick pit stop. And also explaining Alan Kulwicki's problem. He does not have first gear, as you heard Danny Glad say. And remember, NASCAR rules prohibit a crew from pushing a car out of the pits. It's a safety move, but NASCAR will allow you to push a car if you've lost a gear. And they've now given the Kulwicki crew a chance to push their car out of the pits, and that probably saved Kulwicki maybe 5 or 6 seconds getting the car moving here on this pit stop.
Well, they were holding Bob Shack's car at the starting line. It did not stall. They were just holding it until the field came around. So we are still under our 3rd caution of the day, and we'll return with more live action right after these messages. Live from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Our Speed World coverage is being brought to you by the Heartbeat of America, Chevrolet, and your local Chevy dealer. By Goodyear, #1 in tires. Well, the number 11 car of Bill Elliott, the 7 car of Alan Kulwicki, and the 28 car of Davey Allison, the top 3 in the points, have now each led a lap, and so each has picked up the 5 bonus points.
So they're back where they started.
They're right back where they started, exactly.
Here comes the restart now. The green flag waves.
Jimmy Hensley's in 2nd place. The Trump Arctic 4th.
Mark Martin 3rd, Harry Gant 4th, and Elliott is 5th.
Here comes Kyle Petty, the mellow yellow Pontiac, trying to get a lap back, trying to get by Davey Allison.
Kyle, of course, was one of those drivers that made a green flag pit stop just before the 2nd caution came out. Dale Jarrett right there, he also was one of those drivers. But Mark Martin's going to take care of both of them.
Petty now inches ahead of Davey Allison, trying to get that lap back. We're watching from Mark Martin's car as he tries to take the lead.
Kyle Petty gets by Davey Allison, moves up in front of him, and now here comes Martin trying to take the lead back. Mark Martin is 6th in points.
So they're involved in a battle of their own somewhat, although again Kyle is now at the tail end of the lead lap, the lap that Mark Martin leads.
15 points separating the 2, Kyle Petty and Mark Martin.
Harry Gant now is 3rd, just behind Davey Allison.
Harry looks pretty racy right there at the moment.
Here comes Earnhardt. He's still a lap down, but he's mowing him down. He's by Hensley.
And there's Ricky Rudd in the 5 car, the 66 of Hensley, and Jeff Gordon in 24. This is the car that Jeff will be running all year next year, the same colors, DuPont. And by the way, Jeff Gordon has a $100,000 bonus if he can win this race today. Morgan Shepherd slowing from the roof cam. You can see how the car is not on pace.
No, he's way off the pace, Bob. He's heading into turn number 3 there right now. You see how far the leaders are out in front of him. Here's Davey Allison now trying to move around Kyle Petty. Mark Martin already put Kyle that lap down.
And Harry Gant, who was reported to be suffering from the flu, does not appear to be suffering all that much. He's running a strong 3rd.
And he and Kyle Petty are 1 point apart. Gant's in 4th, Kyle Petty 5th in the point standings, and only 1 point separating the 2.
And it's a difference at the banquet of $35,000.
Oh, that's nothing.
Maybe not in your world it isn't, but
the difference in 1st and 2nd is 670. Oh, a crash down the front straightaway.
Ken Schrader Wally Dallenbach.
Darrell Waltrip's involved.
And Richard Petty is flaming going into turn number 1.
He's knocked the oil cooler off his car, and the oil is on fire.
Richard Petty, the car is on fire. Petty has got the car stopped.
Get in the fucking fire. It'll go out. Fire extinguisher. It'll go out. That was Richard yelling to his crew, get a fire extinguisher down here.
Yeah, they got I pulled up to the fire truck.
Richard said, I pulled to the fire truck.
Well, I'll tell you, that's a great presence of mind, right?
And what a way for the career of Richard Petty to end. Let's not say right now, though, that his race is over. They could get the car back going, but I doubt it.
Once again, Bill Elliott got through a crash. I didn't see what happened in the crash. I just looked up and saw stuff flying.
Yeah, Bill was up in front of it.
Davey Allison was in front of the crash. Should have been about mid-pack, I guess. Because Dick Trickle, one of the cars in the crash, was running 10th before the crash. There's Darrell Waltrip. We can see some heavy damage to the Western Auto Chevrolet.
Now the 3 cars here on the main straightaway and into turn 1 are Dick Trickle, Ken Schrader, and Wally Dallenbach, and then Richard Petty's car is down in the turn as there is the king out of the car. And this may be the final farewell.
But thank God he was able to walk away from it and wave to the fans.
But you know, they ought to take the king back to the garage here and something better than a record.
Yeah, you're right about that. It's not a good way to end a career that has been so great. Now here's the crash. That's Trickle.
Ooh,
look at Dallenbach get bumped around.
And there's Richard Petty going in and hitting Darrell Waltrip. Looks like the rest of these cars able to slow down without too much trouble. And Richard driving down to the fire truck, like he said. There's an oil cooler up there, as I said, right behind the left front fender. That was the hood I saw going up in the air. That
was that your eye level?
Yeah, right when the crash started.
Came off of Schrader's car, did it?
Not sure. I think so, yes.
Well, it almost blocked the track there for a moment.
I would guess that someone came off the corner on the outside of another car, and the fellow didn't know he was there. Made contact. And I don't.
6 cars involved in the crash, and it's going to take a while to clean it up because there are a lot of damaged race cars and a lot of debris on the racetrack. It comes on lap number 96 of the Hooters 500 here in Atlanta. The Hooters 500 here at Atlanta Motor Speedway under the 4th caution period of the afternoon because of a 6-car crash here on the main straightaway that involved Darrell Waltrip, Dick Trickle, Ken Schrader, Richard Petty, Wally Dallenbach, and Rich Bickle. And here is the replay.
There we see the Ken Schrader car, the white car, spinning. Also Dick Trickle, the dark car, spinning. As they go down the straightaway, other cars start going in the crash. There's Darrell Waltrip spinning. Dallenbach hits him. Bickle's in the mix, and Darrell and Richard Petty runs into Darrell Waltrip and knocks the oil cooler off his car. The oil goes back on the exhaust system, and there's where the fire came from.
Look at that hood way up in the air off Schrader's car.
Schrader spinning. He finally comes to a stop.
Well, Kenny Schrader got knocked around pretty good in that crash, and here's Jerry Punch.
And the good news, Bob, is Kenny is okay. Kenny, what happened out there?
Trickle's right behind me, and I went in turn on top, and he was like in the middle, and I turned from the top to the middle to get underneath Dale Jarrett, and he must have been a little tight. We just run out of space coming off 4. I mean, he caught me in the left rear just a little bit, but it's real tight over there, and I was trying to get underneath somebody, and he was trying to get underneath me, and we just run out of space.
Took some pretty heavy looks. Did you see Richard Petty come by?
No, I just saw a lot of smoke, a lot of stuff hitting.
Ken Schrader's car heavily damaged. He's okay. We might mention that Wally Dallenbach, Dick Trickle, and the other drivers most of them have walked past here and smiled and waved, even in defeat, guys.
And there's Ken Schrader's badly damaged Kodiak Chevrolet. He'll be back with the Rick Hendrick team in 1993.
With AC Delco as the sponsor.
Now here's a replay from the in-car camera of Richard Petty.
Oh, this ought to be good. There's Dallenbach right in front. Uh-oh, smoke. Oh, that's Rich Bickley ran into.
I thought it was Waltrip too.
Well, he hit Waltrip after Bickle had hit Waltrip and spun him around. Yeah.
And you can see the flames coming out. We'll take a look at it again here in a moment. The car of Wally Dallenbach Jr. on the rollback. He took a good knock too. But everybody apparently is okay after 6 cars involved in a tangle here on the main straightaway. We'll be back with more in just a moment. We welcome you back on a beautiful Sunday afternoon. Just couldn't ask for more perfect weather than this to end the season. It's a little bit cool, but you expect that this time of year. But boy, after Thursday when we arrived here, when it was just pouring down rain, we wondered if it was going to be nice for today, but it is perfect racing weather. The points as of now. Allison is on top. He is running in 2nd position. Alan Kulwicki is 5th. Elliott is 4th. Gant 3rd. Martin 1st. So you can see that the first 5 in points there running in the top 5, and Kyle Petty is running in 15th position. So as of right now, Davey Allison still on top in the battle for the Winston Cup. There's Wally Dallenbach Jr.'s badly damaged Keystone Ford that was involved in the accident here on the main straightaway.
So it's not a beautiful day for some people, Bob.
Yeah, that's for sure. But the good news is that everybody is apparently okay from that crash. Again, we had an accident on the 2nd lap that sent Brett Bodine to the hospital. Here's Jerry.
Well, we've already seen Davey Allison, guys, avoid a couple of incidents. He could certainly have been knocked out already in the first 100 laps. You may be asking, does Davey have a good luck charm? We've all seen rabbit's feet, we've seen Buckeyes, but guys, have you seen a good luck pumpkin? That's what's in the Haviland pits now. When they went to Phoenix a couple of weeks ago, they picked this good luck pumpkin up at a Mexican restaurant on Friday. We all know what happened. He won the race, reassumed the lead in the points championship. They painted a happy face on the front, and they painted a sad face, what's left of it, on the back. Now, this pumpkin has hit the wall a couple times. You can take a look there. But right now, while Davey's running well, they have the happy face showing. And believe me, folks, this pumpkin has been guarded more than the race car the past 2 weeks. So Davey's good luck charm so far working its magic. Guys.
Yeah, it's holding for him so far. Allison still on top of the point standings.
You know, as nervous as Davey was to begin the race, I'm sure when he drove through that 2nd lap crash and avoided that, all the nervousness went away. He was no longer nervous.
I mentioned also that Hut Strickland also was sent to the local hospital in addition to Brett Bodine to be checked out for just an observation and the possibility of some injuries that they're not aware of here at the racetrack. Field gets relined for the start.
Business is fixing to pick up because we're going back green flag racing. Dale Earnhardt still a lap down to the leader, Mark Martin. Pulls up alongside Martin, going to try to get his lap back.
He's in 15th position, Benny. There are 14 cars now on the lead lap.
And if you're just joining us and you've noticed that Ned isn't saying a whole lot today, it's not because he's mad at us, I don't think. Ned is suffering from some laryngitis and couldn't utter hardly a sound yesterday and last night, but we're glad you got at least what you got today.
It's amazing. The biggest race of the year. And
not the way it goes.
Go away, yeah.
As they're getting ready to go to restart, Darrell Waltrip's car is sitting on the pit road, and they're trying to adjust the toe in on it. The hood's damaged, the rear end's damaged, but they're trying to get him back on the racetrack. There's the Western Auto Chevrolet.
Well, the attendance here will far exceed last year's attendance of 122,300. The track officials estimated they would sell 60,000 hot dogs, 40,000 hamburgers, 100,000 sodas, 800 pizzas, 40,000 cups of coffee, and 40,000 cups of hot chocolate for this event. And that was before they learned that Benny would be having lunch here.
Okay, let's go.
Green flag waves.
Gets in front of Mark Martin.
Big cluster of cars behind behind the leaders, Bobby Hamilton, Harry Gant, Bill Elliott. That number 9 car is being driven by Chad Little and has Mayflower Moving sponsorship on it. And speaking of moving, there is Ernie Irvin.
He's moving through the pack, isn't he?
Porter body alongside.
Kyle Petty almost moved into the wall in between turn 3 and 4. He really did a great job of driving that car. I don't know if there's something wrong with it or not. But
yes, there is. There's something wrong with Kyle Petty's car. He's just not up to speed.
you can see him there on the outside, the black car with the green numbers. Here he is now going into turn 3. Might have got a little bit of help there from Sterling Marlin.
Oh, yeah.
That's why he went so high. Yeah. Okay.
Got a little bit of a bump from him.
Yep.
And he was still trying to get his heart beating down in turns 1 and 2 when he started slowing down.
Kyle's running okay now, looks like. That's Rusty Wallace right beside him, now behind him. As we look from the Phillips 66 in-car camera being carried by Jimmy Hensley. Good run for Jimmy. He's being shown in 12th position.
No sponsorship yet for that team for 1993. Cale Yarborough Motorsports, they're looking, hoping to keep things together.
There's a host of Pontiacs. Kyle Petty, Rusty Wallace, Michael Walter.
Lots of announcements made here at Atlanta in the final race, among them Harry Gant will be switching to Chevrolet next year.
And big surprise, Rick Mast, after he won the pole, said they'd be switching to Fords.
Really?
Yeah. Huh. The Richard Jackson team.
And also Bill Davis, remember, he's the guy that owns the number 1 car, the Baby Ruth Ford on the Busch Grand National Circuit. He signed a 5-year deal with Maxwell House as Bobby Labonte as his driver to run Winston Cup. 5 years.
And the worst-kept secret in racing, Rick Wilson as the replacement for Richard Petty. That was officially announced on Thursday.
Derek Cope very high in turns 1 and 2. Almost got the wall in the Purelator Chevrolet.
Watching Harry Gant, Bill Elliott, and Alan Kulwicki.
Yeah, looks like Kyle Petty's back up to speed now. We don't see him on the screen, but I said a moment ago, looked like he had a problem. I think he was just trying to get his heart pumping again, get his composure. That's why he's slowing down in 1 and 2.
2, 3, 4, and 5 right there. Allison, Gant, Elliott, and Kulwicki. The leader of the race is Mark Martin.
Harry Gant, the Skull Bandit, had the best race car down here in March. Did not win the race. Bill Elliott won the race. Gant finished 2nd, but he had by far the best race car. Now, if they can get it back to that level, he might be trouble.
Race is just about a third over. There are 328 laps in this event, and we're now at 109. If points were awarded right now, Allison would be the winner of the Winston Cup. He's running 2nd. Kulwicki would finish 2nd in the points. He's running 5th, and Elliott would be 3rd. And now Mark Martin is trying to put Dale Earnhardt a lap down again.
He's closed up on the back bumper of Earnhardt. And Earnhardt's running high, Martin running low.
And a good battle back of those guys as Alan Kulwicki has pulled alongside of Bill Elliott and now tries to take the position away. They come down the back stretch, and boy, it looked like they may have touched as they came off the corner.
They were awfully close, there's no doubt about it.
There was $1 million at stake. The Winston Cup champion not only wins that title, which is in the stock car world enough, he also wins $1 million.
We see Kulwicki going down. That time drove in alongside Bill Elliott. Here they come off the corner once again. Very, very close to touching as they go down the back straightaway. You see Kulwicki back off this as they go in the corner. Remember that 2nd lap crash between Brett Bodine and Rick Wilson? You see, he doesn't want to go in there and not have the air to lean on. That's why he backs off going in the corner.
Now Allen, I was going to say, gets cleanly around him, but no, Elliott just won't give up while Ricky Rudd says, I may make this a 3-horse race.
Did I say Rick Wilson? I meant Rick Mast.
You can say Rick Wilson next year.
And now, Ricky Rudd pulls on the back of Kulwicki, gets him a little bit loose. He tries to take that spot away.
We'll over a year ago at this time, Ricky Rudd was in the thick of the points battle, but 1992 has not been as good to him. He is 7th in points, and John Kernan is with the King.
Well, Richard Petty is sitting down here in the garage area. Richard, they're working on the car. Apparently, you're okay, but you're going to try and get the STP Pontiac fixed.
Well, we're looking to see what's going on. It busted the oil cooler in the radiator and caught on fire, and I drove down there to a fire truck and got it put out. But I don't know that when it busted the oil cooler that it didn't run out of oil and mess up the bearings. So first thing I got to do is put it back together and then crank it up, and still got oil pressure. We might go out and run a few laps. The oil pressure's messed up. Naturally, that's all over with, but no front fenders or nothing on it right now. It's tore up pretty bad.
You know, you'd rather go out in a blaze of glory, but you're almost out in a blaze today.
Yeah, it wasn't the kind of blaze of glory I wanted to go out in, but the main thing is nobody got hurt in the wreck, and I've spent 35 years doing this, and I'm still walking around talking, so good Lord looked after me for a long time.
Now, if you don't get it fixed to get back out, will you still be hanging around for the end of the race ceremonies that were scheduled?
Well, we'll sort of play that beers according to what everybody wants to do, and we'll take care of everybody.
All right, Richard Petty, despite the car catching on fire and sitting here in the garage in this last race, manages to flash that famous Petty smile.
And I hope that they can get that car back out and running. I would like to see the car on the racetrack when the checkered flag drops. Well, Mark Martin is still the leader of the race, and he has not yet put Dale Earnhardt a lap down, and Dale is in 15th.
He was alongside Earnhardt just a moment ago, not able to get by.
But now that those tires have heated up, Earnhardt is running that high groove again, and he's been able to pull away just a little bit.
Let's watch the telemetry one more time. 183. 190 miles an hour just at the end of the back straightaway.
And that was just about the same as it was early in the race, as the sun will start to play a factor in this race, and in fact it is already.
I tell you what, it's going to be miserable at the last 100 miles of this race. The drivers will be driving in turn 3 with very little visibility.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah, easy for me to say.
Bill Elliott has just taken 3rd position from Harry Gant. Gant is 4th, Kawicki is 5th, and the top 5 are all in the points race. This is an incredible adventure on a Sunday afternoon for NASCAR Winston Cup racing, and we're delighted you can join us. Back in just a moment. At Atlanta Motor Speedway, 120 laps are completed in the Hooters 500 with Mark Martin leading Bill Elliott.
Alan Kawicki is currently in 3rd, Ricky Rudd 4th, and Ernie Irvin is 5th. Davey Allison has fallen back to 6th.
He's lost several positions here in the last few laps. I don't know whether there's anything wrong with the car or whether he's just...
He went down to turn 1 just a couple of laps ago and looked like something happened in the car. He got loose, pushed or something. He got out of the gas, and that's when most of these fellas went by him. Now he's able to maintain and run along with them. Jerry Bunch, what happened to Davey down in turns 1 and 2?
Manny, you're exactly right. Davey had a little bit of a push going in the corner, had to back out of the throttle. No need to take a chance here. We're still just past the 120 lap mark, but you're exactly right. Good eyes. The car went in the corner, and the car began to push as Elliott was going by Davey Allison. Davey had to back out of the throttle just a little bit, which allowed Bill to zip right on by almost effortlessly.
Bill Elliott now is in 2nd position, and Davey Allison is back to, what, 6th?
Yep, back in 6th spot.
We're getting closer to the halfway lap. If you have entered the Gillette Halfway Challenge and you are called at home and can name the driver who won the Gillette Halfway Challenge Award, coming up, you will win the new Chevrolet Lumina.
There's our leader, Mark Martin with Babylon Ford.
Good lead over 2nd place man Bill Elliott, and Dale Earnhardt continues just to inch away a little bit from Mark Martin. Earnhardt just hoping for a caution. He's already made up 1 lap, now wants to make up the other one.
Earnhardt might have the fastest car on the racetrack currently.
Yep.
Elliott and Kawicki trying to run down the leader.
2nd and 3rd in the race, and 3rd and 2nd in the point standings.
I wonder if they're asking In Bill Elliott's situation, asking Tim Brewer. Alan Kulwicki's situation, asking Paul Andrews, their crew chiefs, what's happening to Davey? Where is he? What's he running? I wonder if they're asking every lap, where's Davey? I wonder if they're keeping track, or they're just concentrating on what they're about, their job.
Well, I don't know whether or not the drivers know, but you fans at home sure know, because we keep you updated as to the points as of right now. Allison on top by 15. He's 6th in the race. Kulwicki is 3rd. Then Elliott, Martin, Gant, and Kyle Petty, who's having the worst race among those. Kyle Petty is in 18th position. There's the leader of the race, Mark Martin.
And he's moved from 6th to 5th in the points as of right now. There's Bill Elliott, 2nd place car.
And then 3rd, Kulwicki, and 4th, Ricky Rudd. Martin won this race last year, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He sure did.
When Dale Earnhardt won the 2nd straight championship. There's Davey. Jeff Bodine is behind him in Lake Speed. Lake's having a pretty good run.
Having a great run in that Purex Ford. Brand new race car, Lake told me. First trip out for it.
He's a lap down in 16th position.
Some of those guys that made that early pit stop.
Yep.
Yeah, there were a bunch of good cars. Kyle Petty was one of them that got caught down in that position.
And they had no choice. They were out of gas.
Yep.
Earnhardt, that's how he got 2 laps down. He ran out of gas, and they couldn't get the car restarted. He lost 2 laps on that first pit stop, where most of them only lost the 1 lap.
And right now, Earnhardt is moving away from Mark Martin. Martin might be slowing down a little bit because Bill Elliott is catching him.
And Kulwicki's not letting Bill Elliott go any place that he's not shadowing him.
Staying right there with him.
Well, we timed 5 consecutive laps and now bring you the results with a Big A Auto Parts on-track interval. We timed Martin and Elliott to see whether or not the interval was closing down, and indeed it did close down on 5 consecutive laps. It went from an interval of 2.4 seconds on lap 120 down to 1.8 seconds on lap 124.
Just a tick over a half a second. And we can see how consistent Bill Elliott was. 32-1 every lap except that one, and that's when he passed the slower car, I'm sure.
Now we'll show you the interval between those 2nd and 3rd place competitors and the leader, Mark Martin. Not very much racetrack between them.
No. I tell you what, this has been a classic run for a championship. Bill Elliott, Alan Kulwicki, we couldn't ask any to do any more than they're doing. Just as hard as they can go each and every lap.
And I'm not a big cliche fan, and I almost hesitate to say this, but I don't know how else to make the point that the cream has risen to the top in this race, because the guys that are running for the points championship are running right up there toward the front and in the front in some cases.
And Dale Earnhardt trying, he would definitely like to get a victory today, trying to salvage some of his season in 1992. Only 1 victory for the defending Winston Cup champion this year.
Here's an Autolite field summary for you. Watch for your favorite driver. This is how they crossed the line last time around, 1 lap ago.
Dale Earnhardt back in 15th on the lead lap.
There's Dale. He has pulled away from Mark by a whole bunch.
There goes Earnhardt. Dick Trickle's out of the race. And Ricky Rudd is slowing. Our 4th place car slowing dramatically.
The winner at Dover not too long ago, Ricky Rudd. And the guy that is 7th in the point standings is off the pace, and the report is he's lost his power steering.
Oh, man. There's trouble trying to wrestle that thing around with no power steering. The problem is used to they didn't have power steering, but they adjusted the front end so he could drive the car. Now with power steering, the front end adjustment makes it almost impossible to turn it like most cars on the street.
But remember, a few years ago, of course, it has changed some with radial tires in particular with the different settings of the front end to accommodate the radials. But Earnhardt lost power steering, wasn't it, at Bristol? One of the toughest tracks on the circuit, went on to win the race.
Yeah, I do remember that, yep. Rudd has an 82-point lead on Darrell Waltrip in the point standings. There's King Richard Petty, who is at the moment out of the Hooters 500, being led by Mark Martin. Trying to win his second Winston Cup. He did it in 1988. Bill Elliott leads the Hooters 500. Second place belongs to Alan Kowicki. And Mark Martin, who was leading this race just a few laps ago, has fallen all the way back to third position. So Bill Elliott now is at the front. And here's how Mark lost the lead.
Going in turn 3, Bill Elliott just pulls up on the outside. Martin realizes he's there as they come off the corner. Elliott has the momentum and just goes right by.
Not too long after that, Alan Kowicki took the second position away from Mark Martin. Now here's Davey Allison involved in a battle with Jeff Bodine in number 15. Lake Speed is also right there. And the number 12 car driven by Jimmy Spencer.
Spencer having another great run in Bobby Allison's car, currently shown in 8th spot.
And this battle between Davey Allison and Jeff Bodine is for 6th.
So if Bodine could get by, Spencer get by, put him back to 8th. Ooh, that tighten up this point down, wouldn't it?
It would appear to me that several of these cars need pit stops. We're going to be expecting that.
Won't be long, I tell you.
Another 8 or 10 laps.
Looks like Bodine is able to make the pass. He has. Now Davey's back in 7th.
Yep. While we watch this, we will tell you that Ricky Rudd has been able to hold on to 5th position despite the loss of the power steering a few laps ago.
I think he adjusted to it pretty quickly. It had to be a shock when that thing went out. You know, what in the world has gone wrong here? Yep. Is it going to turn when it gets to the corner? But once he learned what it was, he has adjusted to it and is still in 5th position.
Little doubt as to who the sentimental favorite is to win this race and the championship today. It is Georgia's Bill Elliott from Dawsonville. Now there's 2nd and 3rd, Kowicki, a Wisconsin driver, and Mark Martin, originally from Indiana. Jerry, what's the problem on that car?
Well, Mark Martin has radioed and told his crew the car is getting very, very loose. Steve Mills told me they will plan to bring him in around lap 147. That's about 4 laps, about 3.5 laps away. So we'll watch and see him and bring the Valvoline car in and put some fresh tires on in about 3 laps.
From his in-car camera, you guys see evidence of him fighting the thing?
No, it doesn't look that way, is it? Okay, now if we awarded the points right now, Davey Allison would win by 6 points over Kowicki, by 11 over Bill Elliott. This thing is very, very close.
It is tightening up.
Whoa. 6 points.
There's Davey. And there is Spencer in the number 12 car. Speed.
Once again, a lap down to these 2 cars, but his car running equally as well as Allison's or Spencer's.
Just as we were talking about Morgan Shepherd, you know, slowing on the racetrack just before the big wreck happened. Well, Morgan is still out there running for his fans. He is 3 laps down, currently being shown in 27th position, but the sit-go forward is still out there running.
There we are. Morgan Shepherd inside the sit-go forward.
He's running pretty good now. I don't know what might have happened if he had an ignition to go out or what happened, but he seems to be running fairly strong right now.
Well, those 24-degree banks don't look very steep when you're running that speed, do they?
No, they don't. Not from inside that race car. Believe me, that's exactly the view you see from inside that seat. They look about flat.
Bill Elliott Elliott continues to lead in the Budweiser Ford for Junior Johnson and Tim Brewer. Their second place, Kowicki, and third, Mark Martin. Now, Jerry indicated that about lap 147 was the target for a pit stop on the Martin car. 47 occurred, lap 147 occurred, so maybe he will be coming in this lap.
We'll see. Here comes Earnhardt.
He ran out of gas. He didn't want to do that again.
That's right.
He was hoping for a caution, but he didn't get it. So he comes in this time, Jerry. He's not taking a chance of running out of gas. He's heading towards you.
Absolutely not, Ned. This is a scheduled pit stop for Dale Earnhardt. He is pitting down at the far end of pit road, right beside where they are waiting for Martin to come in. In fact, Martin should be coming in next time by. Earnhardt brings the Goodrich Chevrolet to a stop. And he had come from 2 laps down. The car running very well. They think that it may not have been a valve string, quite honestly. They now think they may have a pinhole in the header causing the car to shudder a little bit. That's why the car is still running as well as it is. They have changed right side tires. Now put the left side Goodyear Eagles on. Back with the lug nuts, fill it up with fuel, get ready to pull the jack, and Earnhardt is away.
Now he'll find himself until the leader's pit about 2 laps down. But they have a pit stop coming up. If they don't get caught like he did before with that caution coming out, well, he could still be okay.
Earnhardt's most recent win here in Atlanta was in 1990 in the Motorcraft Spring Race. Last time he won a fall race was in '89. There's Elliott continuing to lead. And it looks like he has stretched out the advantage a little bit on Kowicki and Mark Martin. Martin staying out there.
Now Martin's car seems to be running. Now he's coming in now. He's coming in the pits this lap.
Down off the banking. Making sure he observes the speed limit on pit road, which is 55 miles an hour. Jerry, from the roof cam, we see him headed toward you.
And Mark Martin was trying to make this car last as many laps as he could, realizing the other leaders should be in between lap 154 and 157. He made it 3 extra laps, but the car was just going away. So now he brings the Valvoline Ford Thunderbird to a stop on pit road. Right side tires going on. Very, very diligently cleaning the windshield. Remember, as the sun gets lower here in the afternoon, that is a critical part of the pit stop. Getting that windshield clean so the driver can see. Now left side tires going on. They hope to be able to correct that loose race car. All lug nuts being fastened. He is down and away.
24-second pit stop for Mark Martin as he stays below that white line and gets it back on the track. John Kernan, Ricky Rudd is in.
It's a 4-tire change for Ricky Rudd. Talked with Gary Behart, the crew chief, moments ago about the power steering. It is out. He thinks maybe a belt could have fallen off, gotten knocked off. So Ricky does not have power steering, having to adjust the way he drives the race car. Right's already on, left side's going on. They had hoped to get a caution so they can check under the hood, but Ricky will just take on 4 tires and 2 cans of fuel. He's down and away, heading towards turn 1.
Crew made a good pit stop. Jeff Gordon rolls off of pit road behind Ricky. So does Sterling Marlin. There's Jeff going out of the pits right now, and here comes Sterling. He's already gotten 4 new tires on the Maxwell House Ford and is building back up to speed as he heads into turn number 1.
Then shift into 3rd gear. Playing with the gas. Now as he drives up on the bank, he'll shift into 4th gear.
Yep.
Alan Kowicki about to come into the pits. His crew there ready for him with the board out.
And when he does, he'll relinquish 2nd position.
Inside Sterling Marlin's car. 189. There comes Alan Kowicki towards the pits, and Jerry Punch coming towards you.
And remember, Benny Parsons, he does not have 1st gear. NASCAR has allowed his crew to push the car off of pit road, so we'll watch to make sure the car doesn't stall. That could cost him some valuable time, maybe even a lap, if the car were to stall. Here's Kowicki bringing the car number 7 in, hoping to pick up a win and a championship. Paul Andrews with the crew now. Danny Glad, go to work. We would expect to see a routine 4-tire change. Right by Kowicki, Davey Allison brings the Haviland Ford Thunderbird. They are pitting nose to tail here on pit road. 7 on the bottom of your screen, 28 on the top. They have already put the left side tire down on Woody's car. He gets an assist. The car does fire and pulls away. They are still now working on the Davey Allison Haviland Ford Thunderbird, our point leader, getting left side tire. Crew very, very deliberate to make sure every lug nut is fastened. Davey puts it back in gear, spins the tires, and he's away.
Allison moving back out. Others are making stops now. Terry Labonte brings his car into pit road. There is Terry in the Sunoco car. John Kernan right there.
This will be another 4-tire change, making sure that they get the windshield clean. Paul Beck, the PR man out there actually doing windshield service today. Right side's already on, left's going on. Jimmy Spencer, guys, is a car to watch. He just came in and only changed right side tires 1 lap ago. Terry Labonte is now finished with pit work, and he is headed down pit road.
Well, Terry Labonte started this race from 6th position, and here comes Bill Elliott. The leader is on pit road. Again, slowing to make sure he observes the speed limit. Jerry.
And a 4-time winner at Atlanta Motor Speedway and the favorite son of many of the Georgia faithful in this capacity crowd today. Watch and wait as the Budweiser Ford Thunderbird comes to a halt. Tim Brewer and the crew go to work. Mike Hill. They all are changing all 4 tires, fueling the car. Henry Benfield lugs that 75-pound fuel can, shoves it against the left side of the car. Left side jack the car. Lug nuts going on. Fresh Goodyear Eagles. Bill sitting very patiently. And now 21.3 seconds. You heard Elliott squeal away. He wants to win the championship.
Elliott back out on the racetrack as he continues his pursuit for his 2nd NASCAR Winston Cup. Here now is the driver who has taken over the lead of the race as Harry Gant comes in. Ernie Irvin, the leader. We'll watch Gant's pit stop. John, are you there?
Just got here, Bob. It's going to be a 4-tire change. No chassis adjustment made yet. They're making sure they get the windshield clean. Jerry mentioned that's very critical this stage of the day. Right side tire's already on, left side's going on. A smooth pit stop in motion. Harry Gant waiting. Now finally it's down and away.
The Skoal Bandit rolls back out onto the racetrack, and Mark Martin is slowing here on the main straightaway. Mark's Valvoline Ford is off the pace dramatically, and he has cut off the engine.
May as well, evidently it is blown. Well, it's still running. 4,000 RPMs in 4th gear.
And you can hear the engine running.
He's trying to accelerate, but he'll only turn about 4,400. Jerry, what's the problem?
We're walking along beside Steve Mills. Steve, what's wrong with the car?
Quit running. Fan quit turning over. It puffed a little bit of smoke out of the pipes coming in the first turn for a couple laps, and he said it shook real bad up the back stretch and figures it broke a crank or something.
We'll let him go into the garage area. Thank you, Steve. Steve headed to the garage area here, talking to his driver, and apparently the day is over, and so is the championship hunt for Mark Martin.
And so there are now 5 still in contention for the NASCAR Winston Cup, as Mark Martin, who won this race last year and who came into this event 6th in the points, 113 behind Davey Allison, coasts down pit road and will be, we presume, turning in to the garage area. He's still on pit road and in fact is going to keep going.
Well, it didn't break a crankshaft because it wouldn't be turning 4,000 RPMs with a broken crankshaft.
Nope. He has some other problem. There's the leader, Ernie Irvin.
He has not pitted yet here.
He's getting good gas mileage on that Charles.
Jerry, got an update?
Guys, as Mark Martin came by us on pit road, I was standing beside Steve Mill, who was running toward the garage area. We both stopped. The car came by, was sputtering. It seemed to catch fire, started sputtering again, so Mark continued back on the racetrack. They're hoping possibly it may be something less than inside the engine as they get the halfway point here in the season finale.
And while all that was going on, we get a better indication of why Ernie Irvin stayed out on the racetrack as long as he could, because the halfway lap has arrived. And Ernie Irvin is about to pick up $10,000 as the leader at the halfway point and winner of the Gillette Halfway Challenge. There are the cross flags. Ernie Irvin is the leader $10,000 reward, and if you have entered the contest and are called at home, and you can correctly identify the winner of the Gillette Halfway Challenge, you could win a Chevrolet Lumina Z34. Again, the name to tell them, Ernie Irvan. Mark Martin's car is behind the wall. And Bill Elliott, who has made his pit stop, finds himself in 4th position. Back up to speed.
But Irvan coming into the pits. Ted Musgrave had stayed out there. He was ahead of Elliott, but he's coming in right now. And it looks like Jeff Gordon might have a problem on the backstretch. He's going very slow. Maybe run out of gas.
Going slow down pit road is Ernie Irvan. Jerry.
And somewhat of an obstacle. He has to go around the car of Lake Speed, and it's stalled on pit road. Also get around the car of Morgan Shepherd. Here, the Kodak crew working on Ernie Irvan's car. We mentioned Ernie Irvan won $10,000 for leading the halfway point. A $25,000 bonus just went to Davey Allison for winning the most halfway points this year in the Gillette program. The only other ones who could have gotten that were Bill Elliott and Alan Kawicki. But by Ernie Irvan winning the 10 grand, as you watch his car exiting pit road in a little over 20 seconds with 4 tires, that will give a $25,000 bonus to Davey Allison.
Jeff Gordon is on pit road. His car very slowly down the backstretch. He was able to make it into the pits, and might he have run out of fuel?
No, I don't know. They haven't put any in it yet.
He stopped just a few laps ago, so he did not run out of fuel. Evidently had a flat tire, something wrong with one of the tires.
Probably had a vibration, didn't know which one it was, and so he's putting all 4 on.
Davey Allison working his way through the traffic, racing with Sterling Marlin. There is Bill Elliott and Alan Kawicki. We will be back in just a moment to update you on the points in this 1992 season finale of the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. If points were awarded right now, Davey Allison would be the NASCAR Winston Cup champion. He is currently 7th. Alan Kawicki, who is 3rd in the race, would finish 9 points behind Allen. Elliott is the leader of the race.
That's 11 points, Jenkins.
Oh, man. And Gant, who is 10th, would be 4th in the points. Kyle Petty, 15th in the race right now, would be 5th. Mark Martin out of the race. He should hold on to his 6th in the point standings because he came into this event 168 ahead of Ricky Rudd. Let's see, 9 to... Yeah, by golly, you're right, Benny. I do that. There's the leader, Elliott, and Jerry is with Mark Martin. John Kernan is with Mark Martin.
Like I've told you many times, we sure look alike, Jerry and I, sometimes. Standing here with Mark Martin in the garage area. And, Mark, we can see on the telemetry your RPM's just cut right in half down to about 4,000. Do you know what happened?
It acted like it burned a piston or something. Started smoking out the pipes, and you know, the 42 and the 33 were at full song. There wasn't much we could do. We could have tried to run 60, 70 miles an hour around a racetrack and offended NASCAR and everybody else, but we weren't going to be able to do anything about the situation. But, you know, just park it, and I'd have to just say I'm awful proud of Jack Roush and Steve Mill and this whole Valvoline team, and I want to thank Goodyear for putting us on the greatest radials I've ever driven on here, and thank Folgers for hanging in there with us this year. We've had a real good year, and we've got a lot to look forward to next year.
That's right. They certainly do have a lot to look forward to. In fact, Steve Neal says they're already working towards 1993. Bob?
2 wins in 1992 for Mark Martin at Martinsville and at Charlotte. And his year is over as the Valvoline Ford is behind the wall. Well, things have kind of settled down here as we have completed 174 laps of this event. Bill Elliott is leading over Alan Kawicki. We'll be back in just a moment. The Texaco Haviland crew of Davey Allison watches their driver very closely. They have been told that there may be a problem with the car. Now there is Rusty Wallace on the racetrack trying to pass him. Davey hasn't seemed to have slowed up very much, but we'll watch that situation very carefully. Jerry, can you update us?
While we were in commercial, Bob, Davey just yelled to the crew, "I think I've run over something on the track and cut a left front tire." They all scampered up to the pit wall with tires. Davey said, wait a minute. He said, it may not be cut. It may just be a vibrating exhaust pipe. So he ran another lap. He backed off the throttle for about half a lap. And he came back to full throttle. I think it's okay, guys. I believe we're going to be all right. So they just, everyone's heart skipped a beat down here in the Haviland pit.
But he has dropped from 6th to 9th position, as both Rusty and Terry Labonte have been able to get around him. Following this race, and again, we urge you to stay tuned if you have any love at all for auto racing and for the King, because we're going to present a very important and special program, Portrait of a King. That will be immediately following our live telecast of this Hooters 500. Dave Despain will be hosting that program, and it is a dandy. Elliott, the Georgia native, in front of his hometown fans, leads the Hooters 500. Alan Kulwicki not too far behind in second place.
He's only about 15 car lengths behind Bill. He's steadily, inch by inch, gaining on the Budweiser Ford. And when I mean inch by inch, that's basically what it is, just inches.
Not too far in front. You saw him there. Harry Gant is about to go a lap down. Dale Earnhardt just went around Harry Gant, so he has made up a lap on him. Really, Earnhardt's still running out in front of Elliott, and so now Gant has dropped to 12th. Earnhardt is 11th, but not too far from going a lap down. Gant's car is definitely off the pace a little bit now from what it was earlier.
There's Dale Earnhardt, who led earlier in this event, then lost a lap and gained it back.
Lost 2 laps, really. He was down 2 laps at one time, but has got both of them back. He still needs a caution.
And there is Harry Gant, who is 12th, and the last car on the lead lap as Bill Elliott tries now to lap him, making it just 11 cars on the lead lap.
Well, he closed right up on the back of Harry Gant, and here he goes on the outside of Harry, puts him a lap down.
Dave Marcus, now he'll try to pass him. Dave is running in 19th position. By the way, if you're just joining us, it's 3 o'clock Eastern time, and if you are just joining us, the situation is that King Richard Petty went out in a blaze of glory, but not the blaze that he wanted to. The car caught fire after he was involved in an accident here on the main straightaway. Richard is okay. However, the car is out of the race. Bill Elliott leads this event. Alan Kulwicki is in second position. Davey Allison is in 8th. So it's still very much a heated points battle. Now our Western Auto race recap. Bill Elliott has led 60 of the 184 laps. There have been 4 caution periods for a total of 29 circuits. There are 12 cars, make that 11 now on the lead lap, as Harry Gant has gone a lap down. 8 leaders and 16 lead changes, and the average speed is a little over 127 miles an hour. The drivers who have picked up 5 bonus points for leading include Martin, who is out of the race, Earnhardt, Elliott, Irvin, Allison, Kulwicki, Jeff Bodine, and Brett Bodine, who led the first lap, but then was involved in a multi-car tangle down in turn number 1 on the second lap. Out of the race, Strickland and Brett Bodine were both taken to a local hospital to be checked up. They were not seriously injured. Stanley Smith, Dick Trickle, Ken Schrader, Bob Shack, Richard Petty, Wally Dallenbach, Rich Bickle, and Jeff Gordon have all gone to the garage area. Jeff Gordon, the most recent. Tony Glover leads the Mechanic of the Year standings from Western Auto, as we see Harry Gant in the pits in the upper left of your screen. Steve Meal is second in the Mechanic of the Year standings, followed by Donnie Richardson, Danny Glad, and Tim Brewer.
Unscheduled pit stop for Harry Gant in the cold-landed Oldsmobile. He had slowed on the racetrack, not dramatically, but he was definitely off the pace a little bit. Apparently had a vibration or something, and could be a bad shock, but he thought maybe it could be tires, so they've changed all 4 tires now. We'll see.
Keeping you updated on the point situation all race long. If they were awarded right now, Allison would have a 2-point victory.
And Elliott and Kulwicki would be tied
for
2
second.
points behind.
Wow, you can't get much closer than this. Here's Jerry Punch.
Guys, you think we're watching it upstairs? I'm in the Davey Allison pit. Now, this statistical sheet you're looking at right here was developed by Bob Lafford, who actually helped develop the current point system way back in 1975. We have Davey Allison in this column, Alan Kulwicki, and Bill Elliott. Davey Allison currently, what, an 8th spot? That's how many points he would have. And if you turn and look at Alan Kulwicki in second or at Elliott in first, that's what he would have. So they are watching very closely a statistical chart here to see every single spot counts and every single heart is beating rather quickly here in the Allison pit, guys.
And thank goodness for people like Nelson Crozier, who was holding that sheet. Nelson's one of those behind-the-scenes guys that play a very valuable role in presenting these NASCAR Winston Cup telecasts to you throughout the season. Bill Elliott of the Budweiser Ford leads the Hooters 500 as Jeff Gordon has dropped out of his first NASCAR Winston Cup race.
We all know that glare can become a serious problem for a driver late in the afternoon. Well, in years past, the solution was quite simple. You merely tint a major portion of the right side of your windshield, thereby minimizing the glare from the setting sun across the turn. See, NASCAR thought this may be a safety hazard because a driver following behind Richard Petty in his STP Pontiac might not be able to see through this heavily tinted area to a car spinning or maybe a blown engine up front. So in 1992, they said no more tint across the bulk of the windshield. You basically have been limited to a factory tinting job. The upper 5 inches here is all you can tint. This increases visibility for cars and drivers following Richard Petty. They can see through the front of his windshield to a possible problem up front, but also they can see inside the cockpit now as Richard may decide to use a hand signal to wave and say, hey, I've got a problem or I'm slowing down. Both cars in front and behind can see that. So a new 1992 NASCAR rule to improve safety on the racetrack.
And that's a very important piece of information because of the sun that becomes a major problem here in the late afternoon, and we are just about to that point.
It's no problem now. We're going down in turn 1. But watch this. If we can stay with him until he gets to the back straightaway, you're going to see just what a problem it can be. We're only about halfway of the race, just a little over halfway. It's going to get worse every minute until the end of the race. Now he goes into turn 3. We can see as he drives into the sun, and as I said, it gets worse every lap.
Morgan Shepherd right now, Bob, is one of the fastest cars on the racetrack. The Citgo Ford is really running fast, but he's 3 laps down, unfortunately. But whatever the problem was, they got it fixed.
Yeah, he is in 22nd position, but back up to speed. Here's an Autolite field summary for you. Watch for your favorite driver.
Another great run for Jimmy Spencer up in 3rd spot, and look at Davey Allison back in 8th.
11 cars are on the lead lap. The last car on the lead lap is Dale Earnhardt.
Harry Gant now 2 laps down. Bobby Hillin in the 90 car, sponsored today by Wrangler. Remember Wrangler jeans that was Earnhardt's sponsor for so long?
Lake Speed now finds himself 8 laps down. He had a good run going earlier, but obviously the car not performing up to snuff, and he's dropped 8 laps off the pace.
And there we see Earnhardt and Bill Elliott about to put Earnhardt another lap down.
A lap down, yeah.
A lap down, yeah. Right now, Earnhardt is in the lead lap. In jeopardy of going a lap down. Watch as he goes high. Elliott running on the bottom of the racetrack. And here, Allison about to lose another spot. And if Sterling Marlin gets by, that would put Alan Kulwicki in the lead for the Winston Cup. He's only 2 points ahead. It's 4 points, the difference in these 2 spots, if Sterling Marlin can get by.
Well, let's see, did we have Elliott and Allen tied for the lead?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, second.
Right.
So that would put Elliott in the lead. Because Elliott has more victories
than Allen.
Yeah.
There's that sun we talked about just a moment ago.
From Sterling Marlin's car, it is obviously a problem now and will be later. Well, he reached 189 before braking in turn 1.
That's been pretty consistent. That's been consistently what it's been all day. You know what? Sterling, don't look behind him because Jeff Bodine is trying to go by him on the inside. There goes Bodine. But the slower car of Eddie Bierswald
was down there. Jeff had to back out.
Well, you can see how critical that sun is going to become. Jerry?
Indeed, it is going to be very, very critical this summer. Let me show you what's going on here in the Davey Allison pit. They are getting very concerned about what's happening in the point battle. Davey's car not handling well. Gary Beveridge, Ryan Pemberton, and Joey Knuckles are building an aluminum patch for that crush panel in the left rear of the car. Now, they take a piece of aluminum, and they have cut it. And now listen to Ryan Pemberton. They're saying the car catches wind going in the corner and pitches to one side, causing Davey to lose a lot of time. But they're going to try to come in on the next scheduled stop, pull the left rear fender away, put this aluminum patch in, and hope that it works.
Well, you pull out all stops in the final race.
It's an aluminum bracket for the brake.
Thoughts are being traded down there, and we'll see what they do when Davey comes in for his next pit stop. Meanwhile, Jeff Bodine has gotten around Sterling Marlin, and now Jeff has his sights set on Davey.
And he is much faster than Davey Allison right now. Race for 8th spot.
Oh, and a car to the wall. It's Dale Earnhardt in turn 2. And this is the caution that Davey needed to come in and get that work done if they're going to do it.
Boy, oh boy. Davey, you're living right today. Gets a caution flag at the right time.
Bill Elliott had just put a lap on Dale Earnhardt.
Earnhardt's car is moving at the bottom of the racetrack down the backstretch, but he made contact with the wall in turn 2.
Looks like you got the left side pretty flat. Looks like the left side has been flattened out on that race car.
Yep. It's our 5th caution of the day, and it comes on lap 203 as we're 125 laps away from the conclusion of this race. Joey Knuckles wearing the crew cam, waiting on Davey to come in.
We see Larry McReynolds. That's Larry, the crew chief, talking to Davey, telling Davey what they're planning on doing when he comes in the pits. Still talking to Davey. Now the pace car has picked up the field, so the next time they'll be coming in the pits.
The pits will be open. There's the pace car with the field in tow, coming through corner number 3 now as Davey Allison catches up to the rear of the field.
You think you've seen confusion before? Just wait till he gets in the pits and they start trying to drill holes and pop rivet and tape and man, oh man. I wish I was there just to watch it. We see it's got some damage on the left front of that car. Something's hit the left front.
Well, Elliott, Kowicki, Spencer, Irvin, Rudd, Rusty Wallace, Terry Labonte, Allison, Jeff Bodine, and Sterling Marlin all are on pit road. Jerry, Davey is coming to you.
And pit road is extremely busy right now. Here is Davey Allison in the pits, and the crew now going to work on the left front air dam. We're on the crew cam. Now you watch Joey Knuckles rip off that right front tire. Put the right front tire back in place. Meanwhile, the crew now hustling around, trying to pull some of the air dam out of the front of the car. And now they're 11 and 7 out both. And Elliott and Kowicki have exited pit road, still working there on the Davey Allison car. They have pulled some of the sheet metal away. They're beating the air dam out in front of the car. Have replaced all 4 tires, now using a major sledgehammer on the left rear. And you see on the crew cam, they are fixing the front of the car. You're watching Joey Knuckles as he is trying to bend some of that front air dam away. Ryan Pemberton now and Knuckles working in unison, putting some tape on the car. Let's listen in.
Allison's car beat up in the front end, beat up in the rear end. Still trying to hold on and win that championship.
Don't you guess that front damage was done when he radioed in and told his pit crew, I think I've run over something on the racetrack?
Exactly. When he did it. And he cut the left front tire down right in front of the left front. He hit something on the racetrack.
We are under caution for the 5th time this afternoon because of an incident involving Dale Earnhardt in turn number 2. Back in a moment. Allison pulls off pit road after his second visit there in this caution period. They have already signaled the field that they'll get the green flag next time around. So Davey will now start from the rear of the field, and if points were awarded right now, Bill Elliott and Alan Kulwicki would tie in points for the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship, and Elliott would get the crown because he's won more races. Allison, who is currently 10th in the standings, would finish in third. 206 laps completed.
Bill Elliott leading the race, Alan Kulwicki running second. We're seeing a race for $1 million. If that 7 can pass the 11, it's worth about $1.4 million. Whoa!
That's pretty good sum of money.
Pretty strong, isn't it?
Just about to go green in the Hooters 500. The green will come out on lap 208.
Poor Kulwicki knows that. He'd have a heart attack if he does, so don't tell him, whatever. On the inside of Kulwicki trying to get a lap back. And we can see how these two cars running side by side. They're slowing both of them down.
Kyle shown in 11th position. First car, of course, a lap down. Jimmy Spencer and Ernie Irvan are battling for position.
Should be in that third place.
Yep. Dale Jarrett in car number 18 being shown 14th. Maybe a little contact there in the backstretch.
It was close. Spencer goes by. Rusty Wallace is running 5th. We're looking at 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And here comes Ernie down on the inside again.
He dives off the 4th corner to the inside, and at the line they are virtually side by side.
For you Earnhardt fans, he did make it back to the pits, and his car still sits on pit road. They're working on the GM Goodwrench Chevrolet. Here's Kulwicki trying to get by Elliott. He takes the lead and would win the championship right now. Uh-oh, but spoke too soon.
Look at Bill. He's coming back on the outside, but no. Kulwicki is going to lead this lap by a half a car length.
Here comes Bill back. Takes the lead back.
That's the way to race for a championship.
That's the way to go for a championship.
And the fans at home, I hope, are loving it, because we are.
And Ernie Irvan watching all this. He's getting closer and closer.
He sure is.
Watch, he's right on the back bumper of both these cars now.
Yeah, he wants to get up there and spoil that party.
Kulwicki holding the inside line and Elliott holding the high line.
He just can't get up there. We can go up the racetrack and take the lead from Elliott.
Well, both of these guys know that Davey Allison has had problems, and they say, let's forget about Davey. We're going to slug it out for the championship of Minnesota. But here comes Ernie Irvan.
That's it. Attaboy, Ern. Back out there, boy.
Look at Jimmy Spencer. He's right in there, too.
These cars, as they run side by side, are
now I know they touched.
That scared them both to death. Maybe they'll back off and get in line now. No, here comes Kulwicki back again. Here comes Ernie. He's going to help out. Is he?
Very definitely plays hard on this racetrack.
I mean, it's almost like someone said, hey, guys, you're racing for $1 million. Go for it. And Kulwicki now has the lead.
Irvan to challenge Bill Elliott for second. And Ernie Irvan does pick up second position.
I don't know. Here comes Bill back. They're side by side, going in 3. Notice that?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ernie's spotter will tell him, move up, move up. And
He's got it cleared.
Yep. Kowicki leads. Ernie Ehrman now second, and Jimmy Spencer now challenges Bill Elliott for third. Boy, Spencer has given this car a great ride since he's had it, hasn't he?
He sure has. Bill Elliott just made a pit stop, changed 4 tires. Evidently, those tires just not exactly right.
Great shot from Airship Shamu. Over turns 1 and 2 here at Atlanta.
Spencer takes a spot away, puts Elliott back to 4th place.
There's Earnhardt back out on the track, running slow.
And there is Davey Allison, who is back in the 9th position.
And there's the leader, Alan Kowicki.
Don't go away, folks. We've got a tremendous race to settle for you. Not only a race, but a race for the championship. The grand finale of the NASCAR Winston Cup season for 1992, the Hooters 500, live from Atlanta Motor Speedway in Hampton, Georgia. We're delighted you could be with us. Our Speed World coverage is being brought to you by Autolite Spark Plugs, guaranteed for 2 years, no matter how far you go. By Wrangler, the most comfortable jeans known to man. And by Quaker State, the Big Q is one tough motor oil. Well, a whale of a view comes to us from Airship Shamu. The blimp represents SeaWorld parks in Florida, California, Ohio, and Texas. Get it? Whale of a view, Benny. And as of now, Alan Kowicki has the Winston Cup by 3 points over Allison. Bill Elliott, who is running 4th in the race, would finish 3rd in the point standings. Davey has just passed Sterling Marlin,
which now puts him back in front by 1 point.
It's too tough to keep up with. It is so close.
Well, of course, there are 5 other points to be factored in here if one of those drivers lead the most laps.
Yeah.
Which that has not been determined yet. Bill Elliott probably has led more up to this point than anyone else.
And the 5th place battle is between Rusty Wallace and Terry Labonte.
Wallace has it, Labonte wants it. And Dale Earnhardt, we talked about him a moment ago, he will go off of the Winner Circle, NASCAR's Winner Circle program in 1993, Ned.
Well, that's the first time probably in 10 years.
In 10 years that car has been off the Winner Circle program. Only 9 cars are eligible, and there's been 9 cars this year that has won twice. Earnhardt only won once.
You were talking about the driver who could pick up 5 bonus points for leading the most laps. At this point, Bill Elliott has led the most, 85. But we're not finished yet. In fact, we've got 105 laps to go.
Speaking of Elliott, here he comes back. Jimmy Spencer passed him just a couple of laps ago. Now Elliott trying to get back by Spencer.
Since Jimmy Spencer and Bobby Allison teamed up in this car at Charlotte, they have had a 4th, an 11th, a 5th, and currently Jimmy Spencer is running in 3rd position. Being pursued by Bill Elliott.
If you tuned in the Busch Grand National race from Hickory last week and you saw Jimmy Spencer bump Joe Nemechek, everyone thought it was deliberate. I talked to Spencer about that, not on tape, but I talked to him about it. He said, I would never be that stupid. I like the boy. He said there was a car coming down pit road. Honest to God, I thought the guy was coming on the racetrack, so I went up in the middle of the racetrack.
Here's a field snapshot as you watch for your favorite driver and use the clock to tell how far behind the leader he is running on the racetrack. We started the clock when the leader, Alan Kowicki, tripped the line. Completing the lap in 31.9 seconds. Now I have trouble adding and subtracting. Let me see if I can figure that out in my head to how fast he's going. This is carry the 171.7 miles an hour, Benny, on that lap.
Thank you, Kenny Martin.
And Elliott has passed Jimmy Spencer and gone to 3rd. Here's how it happened.
Going down the back straightaway, has position on the inside, goes in the corner, and Spencer graciously backs up, lets him take the spot away.
I believe this set of tires might have been a little bit tight on Elliott's car. Now that they're getting heated up, it seems to be coming back in a little bit.
Elliott is in third. Kowicki is the leader. Davey Allison running seventh. As the points battle has boiled down to these three drivers, Mark Martin is already out of the race if you're just joining us. And Richard Petty also retired from competition, and not the way he wanted to. He was involved in a crash. He's okay, but out of his last Winston Cup race. Back in just a moment.
Then sorry.
Welcome back to Atlanta Motor Speedway, where Alan Kowicki in the Hooters Ford leads the Hooters 500, and the average speed of the race at this point is a little over 131 miles an hour. Bill Elliott is on the move. He has taken over second place from Ernie Irvan.
And two of the front-running cars have made pit stops. Jimmy Spencer just came in. Looked like they just topped the gas tank off. That doesn't make sense.
What was that all about?
I don't know. And Sterling Marlin was just in. They changed tires on his car.
All kinds of interesting things going on here, and it has been an interesting race to this point. It got off on a very bad note because as they completed lap number 1, we had the first crash of the race. It involved Brett Bodine in number 26 and the pole sitter Rick Mast. Bodine with hard contact on the outside wall. Hut Strickland came along and hit Brett very, very hard. Both of those two drivers have been sent to a local hospital. During the fracas, it was Hut Strickland who hit the left rear of Davey Allison's car, upsetting the car somewhat. However, Davey has not let it bother him too much. Then later in the race, another multi-car tangle as Dick Trickle and Ken Schrader came down. Also involved Darrell Waltrip, Wally Dallenbach Jr., and King Richard Petty. You can see flames from a car in the middle of the straightaway. Not injured, but it was a spectacular way to end a long and illustrious career. And this is how it looked from Richard Petty's perspective. He hit Rich Bickle in the back end, also made contact with another car, and then the flames became evident from the left front of the race car. Richard Petty directing the fire extinguishers. And now we move to more recent activity as Alan Kowicki was able to pass Bill Elliott just a few laps ago and take the lead of the Hooters 500. And that's the situation as we speak. Alan Kowicki is in front. Bill Elliott is running second. And Ernie Irvan is running in third position.
And there's a live shot of Alan Kowicki down in turns 1 and 2, exit in turn 2. He's doing everything he can to win a championship. Davey Allison, meanwhile, doing everything he can to protect his championship. Allison has now worked his way up to 6th spot.
And those two incidents that you mentioned, namely the pit stops by Spencer and Sterling Marlin actually helped Davey.
Oh, yeah, moving up 2 position. That's 10 points.
There's Bill Elliott.
Actually, I think it'd be 9 points from where he was, but definitely helped.
There's Elliott trying his best to do all he can do. He has led the most laps of anyone.
Looking for the 28 car. There he is. Just ahead of Ricky Rudd.
He has passed Rudd. And Rudd did fix his power steering problem the last time.
Yeah, they had the hood up on the Tide Chevrolet, and they did make some repairs. Let's find out why Jimmy Spencer came in for some gas, John.
Complicated than that, Bob. He came down on pit road because there was a big piece of paper stuck to the grill, and the engine was overheating. He may have stayed out a little bit too long because the crew just told me that they think the motor's about to blow. And also, Sterling Marlin changed 4 tires. He apparently felt like he had one going down.
That's the update on the 12 12 car, Sterling Marlin, as mentioned, also came in for an unscheduled pit stops, and both of those came just 30 laps after their regularly scheduled pit stops. We may be a little premature in telling you that Richard Petty is out of the race because they're working on the car. Hopefully he'll be on the track when the checkered flag drops. If points were awarded right now, Davey Allison would be champion, Kowicki second, and Bill Elliott third. The sixth caution period of the afternoon at Atlanta Motor Speedway because of a blown engine on the number 90 car driven by Bobby Hillen Jr. Dumped down some oil here on the main straightaway, and that brought out the caution flag. And so it's an opportunity for these drivers to come in once again and get some fresh tires and some gasoline on the 2:42 lap mark.
I don't think they'll be able to make it the rest of the way on this fuel, so there'll be at least one more stop. Here comes the leader, Kowicki, down pit road. Here's Elliott.
And Jerry Punch will be calling these pit stops.
And Benny, answering your question first, they will not be able to make it all the way unless Bill Elliott gets extra very good gas mileage. We're talking about 86 laps from here to lap 328 as they make their way down pit road. 7 on top of your screen, 11 on the bottom, 7 come 11. They're rolling the dice here in Atlanta. Watch the crews go to work as Alan Kowicki's Hooters crew will change 4 tires on the top of your screen. All the Budweiser crew now going to work on Bill Elliott's car on the bottom. These two drivers vying for $1.4 million here in the last 86 laps at Atlanta. Here's number 7 exiting pit road, 4 tires being changed there. And you see them from turn 1. They all are scampering back on the track as Kowicki beats Elliott back on the racetrack, and they resume positions here under the caution.
Just barely did he beat Bill Elliott out. And Rusty Wallace comes out in 3rd position. We'll take another break while we are under caution from the Hooters 500 at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Still under caution. Here are the top 10. Alan Kowicki leads. Bill Elliott, Rusty Wallace, Ernie Irvin, Terry Labonte. 6 through 10, Davey Allison, Ricky Rudd, Jeff Bodine, Jimmy Spencer, and Kyle Petty. Beautiful overhead view of Atlanta Motor Speedway as a record crowd has gathered to watch this event. If points were awarded right now, Davey Allison would win the Winston Cup. Kowicki would finish second, then Elliott, Kyle Petty, Harry Gant, and Mark Martin. Davey Allison 6th, Kowicki is the leader, and Elliott is second at this point. Now tonight on ESPN, at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 5 o'clock Pacific, it's the New York Giants against the Denver Broncos. Don't miss it. NFL action tonight on ESPN, the Giants and the Broncos. We'll have more of our live coverage from Atlanta Motor Speedway after this. Under our 6th caution of the day at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and our congratulations to Kenny Henderson, 41-year-old from Cleveland, Alabama, who knew that Ernie Irvin was leading at the halfway point and won a beautiful Chevrolet Lumina in the Gillette Halfway Challenge. We congratulate Kenny Henderson. He'll be tooling around the streets of Cleveland, Alabama in a brand new Chevrolet Lumina Z34. Well, there have been pit stops made, but now there is some very interesting strategy regarding what we do from this point forward. Jerry Punch with an explanation.
Bob, you think your calculator is busy? Behind me, Danny Glad and the crew are working to try to get the pit calculations done. They pitted with 86 laps to go. They know they can make it about 64 or 65 laps on fuel. That brings them on pit road on lap 306 to 308 with 20 or 22 laps remaining. But the big question mark then, what do? Gas only, 2 tires, and that's going to be the big gamble that could determine who wins the Winston Cup title.
All those questions and a lot more will be answered here in the next hour or so as we get down to the conclusion of this race. The big question, of course, who is going to win the NASCAR Winston Cup title? And it is still very much undecided at this point. That they'll get the green flag next time around, and we'll resume the Hooters 500, being led at the moment by Alan Kowicki. Now, as of a couple of laps ago, and Kowicki has led both of those, Elliott had led 85 laps, Martin 47, Earnhardt 44, and now Kowicki has led 41 if those of you who are keeping the bonus point situation, because the leader of the most laps will pick up 5 extra points, and that could be the determining factor.
Well, right now that would tie, if Davey Allison is in 6th spot, that would tie Alan Kulwicki and Davey Allison. Allison would still be the champion because he's won more races than Kulwicki, but man, it is so close.
I'm telling you, this is something. It was everything that we had hoped it would be. Two abreast formation being aligned on the backstretch.
Kyle Petty's a lap down.
Still has a fast car. Hasn't been quite fast enough to get back in the lead lap.
There are 9 cars on the lead lap. Kyle is 10th. Look at Elliott. Giving Alan a little encouragement, huh?
He's not trying. He's not going to let Alan get any advantage on him, is he? We saw Davey Allison.
Pace car comes in. We're set to go green once again on lap 250. Look at the crowd here, and they're loving every minute of it. Green flag waves. Here we go again. A lot of oil dry here on the main straightaway because of Bobby Hillin Jr.'s blown engine. Don't let that concern you. They'll kick up some dust, but it is all for the better. Kyle fails to get his lap back as Alan takes off, leaves Elliott in his dust.
Since he got it fixed, whatever the problem was, he has been very fast.
He's 17th, 3 laps down.
And we see Ted Musgrave on the inside of late speed. Meanwhile, Ernie Irvin back there has got by Rusty Wallace. He's currently running 3rd.
Kulwicki leading and Petty trying to get that lap back, and Allen has never had a top 5 finish in Atlanta in 14 previous events. This by far his best outing at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and he is using the best time to do it.
But for the last 3 years here, he has earned more points.
Look crash! Davey Allison is in the crash, Bob.
Ernie Irvin, and it's all over for Davey Allison.
No, it's not over yet. I don't think he hit him that hard, maybe.
Well, he hit pretty well, I think.
He's got a lot of damage to the right side of the car.
Ernie Irvin spinning, coming off of corner number 4.
Davey has got his car moving.
Yeah, he's trying to pull away.
But he can't steer it.
But it won't turn.
It won't turn. The right front will not work. Oh, no, the right front won't work. He's broken the tie rod end off the car, so when he turns the steering wheel, the right front tire won't turn. And there he's a lap down.
Kyle Petty got his lap back. He beat Alan Kulwicki back to the start-finish line.
Davey desperately trying to get the car to turn, but it won't happen. The car will back up, but he cannot turn the car and move it ahead to clear Ernie Irvin.
He's broken a tie rod on the right front. Like I said, when he turns the steering wheel, the right front tire won't turn.
And now it's going to come down to 2. Will it be Alan Kulwicki or Bill Elliott? Davey Allison's long, tough, emotional season has come to an end.
And folks, I hope you don't think that I'm pulling for Davey Allison, for Alan Kulwicki, or Bill Elliott. I just hate to see it because we had everything going so much. Their Ernie goes up high. We see the 4 car, and all of a sudden the car just goes around. He loses control. When he saves it, he comes back right in front of Davey Allison. I think that was the only 2 cars involved in the crash.
So often we're criticized for showing partiality to one driver or another. I really have no concerns as to who wins the championship. The best man will win it. But I'm glad to see the Davey Allisons out of the car okay.
Yeah, he knows his
Yep, it's over.
His championship hopes are over.
But there will be other years. There's no question about that. And I'm sure, as Davey will tell you, if we do have an interview with him, he waves to the fans as he gets in the ambulance that regardless of what has happened here, he's had a tremendous season.
Once again, we'll watch Rusty Wallace. Ernie goes by when he gets the car sideways. Rusty gets by, but comes back across the racetrack right directly in front of Davey Allison.
Jerry Punch.
Guys, obviously the mood here in the Davey Allison pit is quite somber, but let me tell you what Larry McReynolds said. You talk about a competitor. Now, Larry McReynolds is the crew chief for Davey Allison. He turned and said, guys, the championship may be over, but we're going to fix this car and still fight for third, fourth, fifth, somewhere in the points. We're not going to quit. And off they took, running up pit road to try to wait for the car to be pulled in. So believe me, there is no quit here in this Haviland team.
And only for the second time since 1979 will the points leader going into this final race not win the Winston Cup Championship. Davey Allison's Texaco Haviland Ford is on the record, headed back toward the garage area. And Davey Allison is in the ambulance. He'll be checked over at the infield medical center, but he was okay when he got out of the car, waving to the fans as they saluted his attempt to win the Winston Cup that has come to an end here near lap 254. We'll take a break and be back with more from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Damaged car of Ernie Irvin now is removed from the front straightaway right at the start-finish line here in Atlanta as the 7th caution period remains out because of the accident involving Ernie and Davey Allison, whose championship hopes are now over. This is how it happened. Watch Ernie Irvin, whose car is up high on the racetrack.
Right in the center of the racetrack, the yellow car. He loses control. Comes across the racetrack. When he saves it, it goes back across the racetrack right in front of Davey Allison. And again, that was the only 2 cars involved.
And that's how it ended for Davey.
There's Liz, Davey's wife.
Brian Vandercook there, who does public relations for Haviland Texaco. You can see that Liz obviously is very disappointed. It's been an emotional year for all of the Allisons.
What did they say at the top of the show? Whoever has the least amount of bad luck.
That is right. That's the way it's been the last few races. Not somebody winning the championship, but somebody losing it. And the car goes back into the garage.
Ryan Pemberton right there closest to us. Norman Koshimishu with the jack stands.
They'll take a look. If they can get the car repaired, they'll put it back out there, and maybe Davey can complete a few more laps and maintain a good finish in the point standings. NASCAR Winston Cup points as of right now. Alan Kowicki on top by 10 over Bill Elliott. Davey has fallen to 3rd. Right now 19th in the serial scoring. Kyle Petty is 8th. Harry Gant 17th, and Mark Martin is already out of the race. And by the way, being factored into those point standings are the number of laps being led. Now the green flag comes out and we resume our competition with Alan Kowicki leading Elliott. It's down to a shootout between those 2 drivers. We're watching from the roof cam Morgan Shepherd.
Smoke out of Kowicki's car?
Oh, Benny, please.
What is it?
Well, Morgan is moving to the inside of him.
Ooh, look out, boy. Don't have another one right here.
Oh, man.
If they haven't done so, Allen's crew needs, spotter says, hey, he's 3 laps down. Let him go.
Yeah, but here comes Elliott. Now, he's closing up right on the back bumper, but that's because these cars are running side by side and slowing both of them down. And Elliott is going to try. Is he going down the outside?
No, he won't do that. He's too smart.
Sterling Marlin also is right in the hunt there, but he's a lap down.
Trying to get a lap back.
He made an unscheduled green flag pit stop. Got him a lap down.
Kowicki was wooed by Junior Johnson to join his team, but Allen decided to go independently, and Allen is showing right now that that was the way to go.
Look at that sun, the glare that these guys are going into. Right now, Kawicki looks like he's able to get ahead of Morgan Shepherd. He has. And he gets a tough break. Bill Elliott doesn't have to race with Morgan. He gets right by. Well, I said he wasn't going to race with him. Here comes Morgan back.
Battling back to the inside, and pulling at least a half car length ahead of Bill in the middle of the backstretch. But now Elliott pulls away in the corners.
Lake Speed still in the race. Good run for him.
Lake is in 21st position. 8 laps now.
What a strange twist turn of events we've had today.
It has been an interesting season. It has been an even more interesting race.
And here comes Bill Elliott.
Now what he has to do is pass Alan Kawicki and keep him from leading the most laps.
That's exactly right. And I'm sure that Ken Brewer, Junior Johnson, those guys are smart enough to realize, Bill, you've got to pass that 7 and lead the rest of the way. If you do that, we can win this baby. Because they would be tied if he can do that. And Elliott has won more times this year than Kawicki would make him the winner.
Exactly what he would do. He's going for it.
Here he comes.
Closing in. Not able to pass. This is the interval of about 2 car lengths.
Are you as nervous as I am, Bob?
I just hope these 2 guys don't do anything silly and take each other out. But there is a lot of work going on back in the garage area as Larry McReynolds and everybody else tries to get that Ford back in operating conditions or at least be around when the checkered flag drops.
And to finish 3rd in the point standings because Kyle Petty might, I don't know if he could or not, but he might be able to overtake Davey Ellison and take 3rd away from him. There's Elliott. There's Davey.
Davey and Liz emerge from the medical center. Imagine he wants to get over to the car as quickly as possible.
There's John.
John Kernan. John Kernan is right there. Go ahead, John.
Well, Davey, you're okay. But, man, I'll tell you, what a way to end the championship hunt.
Well, John, you know, that's just the way it goes sometimes. We had some troubles, and we're trying to work our way back up there, just trying to run a smart race, and ran over something in turn 3 earlier in the race, and we had to come in and repair the car from that. We caught a lucky caution flag, and I thought, all right, we're going to be okay now. And then I saw Ernie get loose over there in 4, and, you know, we just ran out of room. You know, I hate it for all of them guys in the garage area. Everybody at Robert Yates Racing deserves a lot better than this, and you know, they deserve to win that championship this year, and we didn't get it, so we'll just go back and we'll get ready for next year, and we'll come out and try again. It just wasn't meant to be.
Yeah, but Davey, with the up and down year you've had, you've certainly showed a championship heart.
Well, we appreciate all the support everybody has showed us, and you know, the fans have been great. All the letters of encouragement, the phone calls and everything have been fantastic, and you know, we want to tell everybody we appreciate that, but this wasn't our year.
Davey Allison carried a great deal of momentum into 92 from the 91 season, and I think he'll keep that momentum going as we head for 1993. Didn't win the championship, but gave it everything he could. We'll be right back. ESPN Speed World presenting the final race of 1992 NASCAR Winston Cup Series. It's the Hooters 500 being led by Alan Kawicki. Second is Bill Elliott. Just a little after 4 o'clock Eastern time if you're just joining us. Davey Allison just crashed out of the race, ending his championship hopes. Richard Petty crashed earlier in the event. He is injured, and word from the garage area is that they may be about ready to bring the STP Pontiac back onto the racetrack so that it will be around when the checkered flag drops.
Speaking of the checkered flag, Bob, when that flag drops today, you can buy that flag. If you want to make a sealed bid on that flag, send it to Box 500, Hampton, Georgia, 30228. As for the Petty flag, you can buy that flag. How much do you think it's worth?
I bet that thing will go for a few dollars.
And the money will go to Clifford Allison's, the Children's Fund.
Money well spent then.
Ever seen Rusty Wallace, Jimmy Spencer, and Ricky Rudd are race 4,
4th, 5th, and 6th. Bill Elliott has led 85 laps. Right now, Alan Kulwicki has led 66. So Alan, if he leads the next 20 or so, will then become at least the person that would get the bonus points as in that moment.
I tell you what, I appreciate when people do all they can do. And I'm looking at 2 guys right now that's doing all they can possibly do. Every inch around that racetrack, they're going as hard as they can possibly go. Hitting the gas wide open as soon as they can, letting off as late as they can.
They're on a qualifying lap every lap.
Every lap, trying desperately to win a race and a championship.
And Jerry Punch has a comment on pit road.
Benny, you and Ned and Bob are exactly right. Bill Elliott has been told that he needs to pass the 7 car. Well, what he's trying to do every lap with every ounce of horsepower that Budweiser Ford will muster. Now, Alan Kulwicki has been told by Danny Glad and the crew he must keep the 11 car behind him because if he gets past, he may not lead the most laps and he may lose the race and the championship. So these guys are running wide open these last few laps. This is what a championship is all about.
It could come down to the 4 races that Bill Elliott won in the beginning of the season. He had an incident at Daytona. He was very much a contender in that race, but then after Daytona, he won 4 in a row. And it could come down to the number of races won this year if the points are tied when the checkered flag drops.
You see that piece of tape on the grill? Here's Earnhardt going a lap down.
Another one, lap down.
Laps led today, Bill Elliott has led 85. Kulwicki has led 70. If Allen can lead 30 more laps and give him 100, Bill Elliott could lead the last lap, could win the race. Kulwicki could still win the championship by 5 points.
It isn't over yet, fans. Stay with us. The championship is still to be determined between Alan Kulwicki and Bill Elliott. Welcome back to Atlanta Motor Speedway in Hampton, Georgia, about 20 miles south of Atlanta, where the NASCAR Winston Cup Hooters 500 is 281 laps old. It has come down to a battle between Alan Kulwicki and Bill Elliott for not only the championship, but for the lead of this race. They are 1st and 2nd.
Let me throw another thing in the mix. Kulwicki doesn't have 1st gear. Now, if they make a pit stop, he has to take off in 2nd gear. That's going to hurt him a little bit, give Bill Elliott an advantage on the pit stop. That's why Kulwicki is so important that he leads all these laps up until that last pit stop.
And Jerry Punch has a comment on pit road.
And Benny, when you think about what might happen right now, it seems that both the teams might consider just doing a gas and go around lap 306 or 307. And if that were to happen, obviously that would be a big advantage for Bill Elliott with 1st gear.
So, I'm telling you, this thing is not over by any stretch of the imagination. But once again, if Kulwicki can lead about 30, 40 more laps, he could still win the championship. Here's a good battle for Spencer in the 12 car, Ricky Rudd.
And Kyle Petty.
And Kyle Petty, 5th, 6th, and 7th. The number 2 car of Rusty Wallace leads the parade down the backstretch, and he is 4th. So it's 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th.
Now Jeff Bodine is running 3rd. He's pretty far out front of this group.
Ricky Rudd looks to the inside.
We talked about Rudd getting a relief driver earlier on, but once they fixed the power steering, he said, yeah, I think I can drive this thing. Mark Martin went by. He had stood by in case Rudd needed some help. NASCAR would let Jeff Gordon, Rudd's teammate, get in the car because he's a rookie. And rookies can't relief drive.
Jeff Gordon dropped out of the race a few laps ago, but they would not let him be a relief driver because of his rookie status. There you can see 8 cars on the lead lap in our Fram Field summary.
The reason we're not watching the lead because right now Bill Elliott just can't catch Kawicki. Kawicki's pulled out to about a 10-12 car length advantage. This is the best race on the speedway.
Positions aren't being changed here very regularly, but these cars are running a lot closer together than they are up front. Now Kyle Petty looks to the inside of Ricky Rudd. Petty takes that car right down on the white line.
You know, it's strange that Kyle Petty would run his car so low on the racetrack as he does at most racetracks. At Rockingham, he runs on that white line all the time, and his father was famous for running so high on the racetrack.
Richard always said the higher you ran on the racetrack, the less distance you had to travel to the wall.
So his selection of racetrack is not in the genes.
It's primarily the way that race car set up.
Mike Wallace moves up right in front of Spencer.
Interval now between that group of cars and the leader Alan Kawicki. Comes up to lap Dave Marcus once again. Now Alan Kawicki is only 5 behind Bill Elliott in number of laps led. And 5 bonus points could very well spell the difference between who wins a championship and who doesn't, because the driver who leads the most laps gets 5.
Right now, Alan Kawicki has about a 10-point lead on Bill Elliott because Elliott has led the most laps. Kawicki is 1 position in front of him. If Kawicki moves up in front of Elliott, his laps led, that's another 5 points that he would get. That would put him 20 points in front of Bill Elliott. He was already at 10 when the day started. He's 1 position in front of him, and he would get 5 extra for leading the most laps. A total of 40 points in front of Bill Elliott.
More smart.
Yeah, he is.
Add that up in a hurry.
I'm impressed.
But Benny has been there racing for this championship, so he knows.
Yeah, Davey Allison asked me this morning, said, "You've been there, what do I do?" I said, "Son, don't ask me. It was a long time ago when I tried it."
Points as of now. This does not include the 5 bonus points for leading the most laps. Kawicki on top by 10 over Bill. And
no, that does include Elliott leading the most laps.
Yes.
Okay, right. But it isn't the final.
Yeah, right.
If Kawicki goes in front the most times, then that would make it a 10-point swing for the 20 points that I talked about.
Yep. Ooh.
Andy Bierswald. Kawicki came down, got a little bit close to him. We see Junior and Tim Brewer talking about things, trying to figure out, are we going to just gas only, tires, what are we going to do? John, what are they going to do down there?
Well, Tim, whenever he went to tell Junior what he wanted to do, he turned away from the camera, put his hand over his mouth, covered it so I couldn't even read his lips. So you know how Tim's such a poker player, but I think it's going to come down to, I think you'll see both of those guys duck on pit road at the same time and follow each other's lead, wouldn't you think?
Well, I'm going to predict that Bill, no, he has to make a pit stop, doesn't he? Yeah. So whoever does what first will determine what the other one does, I guess. I was thinking that they came in topped off. They talked about coming in topped off during that last caution, but they didn't, so they do have to make a pit stop.
And Bill Elliott, that fuel mileage he gets, you're surprised he did not come in the last time and put some fuel in the car, but he chose not to. Now that both these cars will have to make a pit stop.
We were talking about Benny being involved in championship battle. Let us not forget that Ned was involved in 2 of them. There have only been 11 drivers who have won the NASCAR Winston Cup more than once, and Ned is one of them. That's pretty good company. And Davey Allison goes back out onto the racetrack. Doesn't look much like a NASCAR stock car.
Kind of looks like a modified.
But he's back out there trying to maintain a good finish. Jerry Punch is with Paul Andrews.
Well, let's see what we can find out from this end up here. Now, Paul, we're talking about pitting on lap, what, 306, 37, somewhere along there?
Yeah, something like that. You know, it would be crazy to put tires on. We're probably just going to gas and go. And it's, anything could happen. This is not over yet. We over that checkered flag cross. So right now, it looks real good, though. We're real happy. We'll see what happens. The Hooters Fords are run real good. Alan's done a heck of a job running all day.
Now, wait a minute. You've got no first gear. No first gear. It may be a gas and stop.
Right. Transmission's broken. The first gear went out on a first pit stop, and he's been nursing it. We've been helping him out a little bit, get going. You know, that's all it is. You know, we just got to see what happens here. Now Davey's back out, so, you know, if we fall out or something like that, anything can happen.
That's Paul Andrews. He watches Davey Allison's car come back on the pit road. They're holding their breath, guys, only about maybe 8 or 9 laps away from that pit stop.
You know, he made a good point there, guys. We've virtually given this thing to either Elliott or Alan Kowicki. If something should happen to both of them and they drop out, Davey Allison could still win this championship.
Still win the championship, that's right.
You're right. We were a little premature in saying it's all over for Davey. But certainly his chances are much less at this point. But Davey is back out on the racetrack after being involved in an incident here on the main straightaway with Ernie Ehrman. Back in a moment. Alan Kowicki continues to lead the Hooters 500, and he has now led the most laps today, but has not yet clinched the 5 bonus points. Bill Elliott is running in second position as we are near the 300 lap mark. 299 have been completed. There is Elliott in second position. Running in third spot is Jeff Bodine. Fourth is Rusty Wallace, and fifth is Jimmy Spencer. And the average speed of the race is near 130 miles an hour. Pit stops will be occurring before too long. They must pit for gas to have enough to go the distance.
Ned, you remember Connie Saylor, don't you? Bluff
yes.
City, Tennessee.
Yep.
He's got some medical problems, and he's resting up there in Bluff City, and we just want to say hello to Connie and hope you get well soon, buddy.
Yeah, good race driver.
Yep. Our prayers are with you. Now, Michael Waldrop sees Allen approaching quickly in the rearview mirror, and Michael heads for the inside of the racetrack to allow a clear path for Kowicki. Darrell Waltrip also being lapped in the number 17 Western Auto machine. He currently is 24th, about 19 laps behind.
He was involved in that crash.
That took out Richard Petty, among others.
And Ricky Rudd looks like he's run out of gas again. He's coasting down the back straightaway.
Yep.
Going in turn 3. I don't see any smoke out of the car. Oh, some of the spotters said he's blown an engine in that 5 car.
Well, I don't know. It's time that he could have run out of gas. You know, although that first pit stop when several drivers went a lap down because of making green flag pit stops, he was not one of them, but we will see.
Time machine coast to victory lane. To the pit area, I should say.
We'll see if he goes into the garage area. Right here is where he would do it. And he is indeed going to the garage area, so apparently he does have an engine problem.
Jerry, any information on what might have happened?
Unfortunately, Ricky Rudd just radioed to Cruz that he thinks he may have broken a camshaft, so he will head that car to the garage. Tough break after having such a good run here all afternoon.
Yeah, and Rudd will undoubtedly finish 7th in the point standings.
Even before the race started, he didn't stand much of a chance of moving in any direction.
Right.
He could not move up to 6th. And it was a remote possibility that he would have dropped down to 8th. But Darrell Waltrip was the man in 8th, and he's had his problems today, too, with that wreck.
Yeah, Ricky was 168 behind Mark Martin, but 82 ahead of Darrell Waltrip. Davey Allison still out there, completing as many laps as possible.
There's Davey Allison. He's got to be awfully frustrated out there on the racetrack. There's Richard Petty getting ready to go back on the track.
I knew that the STP Pontiac would be back out on the racetrack if at all possible. And it looks like, although we're only about 24 laps from the end of this event, that Petty, with helmet on, is ready to go back out there and be around at the checkered flag.
Changing left sides on the 15 car. I guess they feel like they need enough gas to make it the rest of the way. They can change left sides while they're putting the gas in, so at least they get that many tires on the car.
Bodine gives up 5th position to come in for the pit stop.
That's a pretty good strategy, man. They can change those left side tires in about 10 seconds, and they need to put that much gas in it, so.
Yeah, because they don't have to go around the car to change the right sides. That takes 3 or 4 seconds extra.
As we near the end of the race, we would like to, as per usual, thank all the NASCAR officials that have been so cooperative and helpful to us in our presentation of their events. Bill Friends, Les Richter, Dick Beatty, who's retiring at the end of this race. We wish him well in his retirement. Chip Williams, all the NASCAR people who are very helpful to us.
I would just like to say to Dick Beatty, buddy, you have been one of the best things that ever happened to Winston Cup racing. We all love you dearly. We know that when you made a decision, it was a fair decision. And here's a decision about to go down the...
Kowicki, we understand, is just trying to conserve fuel, maybe. That's why Bill is closing in. Jerry, is that right?
That's exactly right. Now, by calculations, Kowicki would be really close at lap 307. But right now, guys, hey, it's lap 307. So we are told that possibly Kowicki will try to make it to 308, 309, maybe even to 310 if he can make it. The car number 12 on pit road, Jimmy Spencer, and we're awaiting the arrival of Alan Kowicki and Bill Elliott.
Jerry, it's hard to understand why they would even gamble. When they got to stop anyway, why would they gamble on going 2 or 3 more laps?
I guess they're just terrified that a caution flag might come out and put them a lap down to 4 or 5 good race cars.
But if they only take on fuel, they won't lose a lap.
That's
those
true.
cars running up front.
Well, I don't know. We'll have to see just how long it takes them to go down pit road with the 55-mile-an-hour speed limit.
Jimmy Spencer relinquished 4th position, came in, got right side tires and gas, and is back out there. Rusty Wallace now on pit road, giving up 3rd position.
Kowicki once more goes by, does not come in the pits.
It'll just be gas for Rusty.
Well, Kyle Petty might
Kyle Petty just blew
an engine. I believe the car was smoking going into turn 1. He's right by the leaders.
And Rusty must have been out of fuel. They finally get the car pushed off, and away he goes.
Rusty also, we understand, does not have 1st gear like Allen.
Let's see, is Allen going to come in this time?
I believe he's going to. Well, I thought so.
Elliott is way up on the racetrack.
Well, Allen stays out there.
Yeah, he does.
Man, he can't run out of gas down the front straightaway. He'll lose everything if he runs out now.
Yeah, that seems like it's just rolling the dice a little too much. Jerry, what are they thinking now?
They told Allen to pit that time by. Their calculations are it may not make it back. They said, you got to come in. As he went very high in turn 4, he must have just heard him, but he was already past pit exit. So now he will come around and come in this lap. And he let Bill go by, and now we'll watch for Alan Kowicki to make it down pit road, and how long it will take him to get gas only and be able to get back on the racetrack. Drama playing out here in the final laps at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
He raised the hand and said, Bill, you go right on. I'm headed for pit road because I need some gas. And here he comes down slowly, 55 miles an hour. Less than 4 seconds for fuel. Derek Cope was right behind him for a pit stop.
Ned, could he have gotten enough fuel in that car in 2.5 seconds?
Well, I wonder about that, Jerry. Look at that can. Did he get enough of it in there?
I tell you, the can still looks awfully heavy. And you got to wonder, they're going to bring the can over and weigh it. That's how you determine how much fuel they got in that can. And you've got to wonder, boy, wouldn't that be something to lose it on about a 1.5 second fuel stop? They just put the can back up. They probably don't even want to know.
Now, there's not much they can do about it now. If they didn't get enough and he doesn't make it, that's it.
I don't know how quick a can will empty nowadays. They have certainly got it down to a science so that they can get it out of there in a hurry. They might be able to get 10 gallons out of there in about 8 or 9 seconds. So he was, what, 3.4 seconds that we clocked him there?
Yeah.
And you're right, Ned. He did not lose a lap. Bill Elliott is about a half straightaway behind him. The leader of the race is now Bill Elliott. Here comes Bill.
Here comes Elliott. Elliott drops down off the banking. Here he comes, Jerry.
Bill Elliott heads down pit road in the Budweiser Ford Thunderbird. This could decide the Winston Cup Championship. Kyle Petty's smoking Pontiac leaves a trail of smoke, and Elliott must drive through here on pit road. Tim Brewer and the crew standing by. Watch Henry Benfield. He's a veteran gas man. Cass going in the car, sitting out. 3.4 seconds, and Elliott is away for an identical pit stop. 3.4 seconds for both these guys who got enough fuel in to finish the race.
Both with identical pit stops. Elliott goes back out onto the racetrack. Here comes Alan Kowicki through turn number 1. Can Elliott get up to speed and get the lead?
Yes, he will. He will have the lead when this all boils down. So far, Terry Labonte has not made it
pit stop. He's still the leader.
And he came in that last caution and kept his fuel off. He's going to try to go the
He's
whole
trying
way.
to go the rest of the way. So
as far as winning the race is concerned. But the championship.
So Bill Elliott's going to lead 16 more laps.
Terry Labonte's going to lead these laps.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So Bill Elliott, if it finishes this way, he can't win the championship.
Well, regardless of Labonte leading those laps, Kulwicki has led the most laps. Not officially yet. All right, we'll wait. Boy, this thing is going to go down to the bitter end. It's lap 3:15, and we still don't know who's going to win the Winston Cup. Stay with us. Bill Elliott leads the Hooters 500 with 9 laps to go.
Well, that speculation we did on Terry Labonte, he came in while we were away on the break for fuel, so that all went out the window. He was not going the rest of the way, or couldn't.
So Bill Elliott is the leader of the race. Alan Kulwicki is running second. He's the leader of the Winston Cup right now.
Now, if Bill leads the rest of the way, he will have led 103 laps, and Alan would have led 103, and Bill 102. Points are awarded right now. Look at this. Kulwicki would be the champion.
By 15 points because he's led the most laps. It would be a 10-point swing if Elliott could do it, and that was a difference of 1 lap. Is that what I heard? Man, oh man.
And now congratulations to Danny Glad, who has been named the Western Auto Mechanic of the race. No one has left their seat. Everyone is standing. Everyone on pit road is calculating. Kyle Petty is moving very slowly around the racetrack with a smoking engine, and he's been doing that for quite a while.
You know what? When we see Kyle, he's just as low as he can possibly get. He's not in the racing group at all. He doesn't want to ruin this for anyone. But you know, Kulwicki was supposed to stop on lap 306. He ran to 309. Those 3 laps got him in front in the lap leader bonus.
Okay, that was the reason for staying out there.
That was the reason, I guess, he chose to stay out.
Yeah, I questioned it, you know, if you're going to have to stop anyway, but, you know, they knew exactly what they were doing.
There is Elliott.
Kulwicki right now is not trying to catch Bill Elliott. He's just trying to finish this race in the position he's in and stay in front of Jeff Bodine. Jeff is a full straightaway behind him. He's not concerned about winning the race. He wants to win the war at this stage.
Jerry, any more on if Alan Kulwicki got enough gas?
Well, the big concern here was exactly that. And they said Allen needed 6 gallons to finish the race. They figured that they were here on pit road 3.4 seconds. They figure you can put 11 gallons in 6 seconds. So they got probably right at 5.5 to 6 gallons in 3.5 seconds. So it's going to be very, very close.
Man, I mean, 1 more second on pit road would have clinched it.
We're watching Alan Kulwicki. He is not leading the race. He is second, but he is in the lead as far as the Winston Cup point standings are concerned. Bill Elliott is the leader of the race. And Jerry?
The crew has just told Alan Kulwicki that if Bill leads the rest of the laps, that Alan will still get credit for leading the most laps. Therefore, they told Alan to back off, give Bill the race, conserve fuel, and we will win us a championship.
Exactly right. Just what we said a few minutes ago. If Bill leads the rest of the way, Alan will have led the most by 1 single circuit. Kyle Petty has just been black flagged.
What, 3 more laps, Ned? 3 more for Kulwicki?
That's it.
I'll tell you what a day this has been.
Elliott has a rather substantial lead. He's entering turn number 3 as Allen is halfway down the backstretch. So it's a fairly substantial lead for Bill Elliott. But it's really, besides his 5th victory of the year, going to do him no good because he's going to lose the Winston Cup.
2 more laps for Kulwicki.
Hamilton has just run out of gas, and Richard Petty coming out of the garage area.
Here here comes Richard in the STP Pontiac. He has the car running again with just 2 more laps to go, but he will be on the racetrack when the checkered flag drops. He was involved in a spectacular accident early in the race. It saw the car break an oil cooler up front, caused some white flag is out, causing some fire, but Richard is back out on the racetrack. The white flag is out. Now Alan Kulwicki comes down and gets it. There is less than 1 lap to go around this 1.5-mile oval at Atlanta Motor Speedway. We are not following the leader of the race. We are focused in on Alan Kulwicki, who is going to win the 1992 NASCAR Winston Cup and the $1 million bonus that goes with it. Bill Elliott comes off the 4th corner. He wins the Hooters 500. But Alan Kulwicki is coming off of corner number 4, knowing that he's winning the championship. There's the checkered flag for Alan. He's the champion for 92. Their Winston Cup victory in 1992. Alan becomes the 21st NASCAR Winston Cup champion. It comes in his 7th full year of Winston Cup competition. But our hats off also to Bill Elliott, who did everything he could possibly do to gain the championship, but he came up short. And Richard Petty is taking one final lap around this racetrack as the fans salute him, and his career comes to an end.
Here comes Kulwicki down the front straightaway. He and Richard will probably collide because I'm sure Kulwicki's going to do something spectacular. Let's see.
Remember his first win at Phoenix? He took what he called, and these are his words, a Polish victory lap.
Yep.
And guess what? He's going to do it again. Is the Winston Cup champion for 1992 and is again taking a backwards lap around Atlanta Motor Speedway. It is all over. Bill Elliott wins the race. Alan Kulwicki finishes 2nd and wins the 1992 NASCAR Winston Cup in dramatic style. What a race it's been, and we're glad you could have joined us for our Speed World coverage. Brought to you by Hooters Restaurants, always delightfully tacky yet unrefined. By Smooth Bush Beer and easy drinking Bush Light. And by Fram Oil Filters. Fram, you can pay a little now or a lot later. Alan is completing his lap the wrong way around Atlanta Motor Speedway and now comes down to the end of pit road toward turn number 4 and will pull in and come here to the main straightaway on pit road to receive the congratulations of everyone. He has won the Winston Cup.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to rush that light, but within a quarter of the time, we need to clear pit road. Let's clear the track and clear pit road, please. Doug, we'll get back to you guys in a few moments. Here in the tower.
One happy human being right there, Alan Kulwicki, has got to be on top of the world right now. Undoubtedly, the most happy moment of his life. He said, did I mess up? Did I do wrong? Making that lap the wrong way? Right now, he's a champ. He can do about anything he wants to, can he, Bob?
Absolutely right. It's been a long, tough season for Alan Kulwicki, but he has done it. Appropriately, he wins the championship in the race sponsored by his race team sponsor, Hooters Restaurants.
Yeah.
Allen now gets the helmet off. They've already got the cap saying Winston Cup champion for 1992 that Allen will proudly put on his head, emerge from the car, and receive the applause from the thousands and thousands of race fans who have gathered here on this Sunday afternoon to see who among 6 drivers would win this championship. He's combing his hair.
He's combing his hair. He had a comb down there. I wonder what he was looking for. Come on, Allen. Put on the hat. Well, what else we've lost down there? Well, I think we're about ready. Here he comes.
And let's listen. Last time an owner driver won the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship was Richard Petty in '79, and how appropriate on the day he retires, Alan Kowicki becomes the first since then to win the title as driver and owner. Here's Jerry.
And Bob, there were those that questioned his sanity 2 years ago when he turned down the likes of Junior Johnson and Bud Moore and Rick Hendrick to do it yourself, and Alan today. It had to be all worthwhile. Congratulations.
I'll tell you, man, this is like living a dream here. The car ran great. Our engine was fantastic all day, and car handled real well. And the Goodyear tires, this is the fastest we've ever run at this track and the longest the tires have ever lasted. The Goodyear radials work great. I got to thank my sponsors, Hooters Restaurant, Naturally Fresh Salad Dressings, Classic Mixers, and Ford Motor Company. This Ford Thunderbird's been a great car for us all year long. We ran great. I led the most laps. I knew how far I had to go in a race to lead the most laps, and at that point, you know, there was no way that he could beat me. I was a little bit safe coming down pit road, and we lost first gear in the transmission on our first pit stop. So I had trouble getting out of the pits all day long. You know, I think that's probably where he made up a little bit of time on me was, you know, getting in and out of the pits because we were having transmission trouble. But at that point, I knew where we were. You know, I wanted to win the race because we had led quite a while, but there'll be other races, but this championship's what I wanted. And I just, you know, thank God for the fortune to be here and to be in America and compete on the Winston Cup circuit. Man, when I moved down south years ago, this was my dream. I came in a pickup truck and a trailer, and I want to thank all the people that along the way in ASA and everywhere in my career have helped me. And, you know, I said that we made this, nickname this car the Underbird today. We're going into this race the underdog, and we ran good. I'm really proud of the whole team. Paul Andrews, Danny Glad, Ron Vaccaro, Randy Clary, the guys in the engine shop did great. There's more, Gary Preziosi and Shane Parsnow, Tony Gibson, Pete Jackson, Jeff Bice, Tom Mount, on and, you know, if I forgot anybody, I'm sorry, but it was a team effort. We got a great team, and I'm really proud of them. I couldn't have done it without them. It's, you know, I said, this is a long answer to one question. Cut me off whenever you're ready.
That's fine, Alan. I know you're going to catch your breath. Let us just congratulate you again on becoming the 1992 Winston Cup champion. Congratulations.
Thank you. I mean, this is just a storybook ending, having Hooters sponsor the race, and my dad's here, and just really wonderful.
Alan Kowicki, how appropriate here in his 7th year of driving in Winston Cup that he would drive car number 7 to the Winston Cup Championship. The last one to win as a car owner and a driver. Who else but King Richard Petty? And for the thousands of people here today and the millions watching around the world, we direct your attention up to turn 4. Ladies and gentlemen, where for the final time, the legend, the man, the King, Richard Petty, will say goodbye to all the millions of fans who have adored him for many, many years. So on your feet, wave and say goodbye, your special way to King Richard Petty.
did give us. The tracks in Carolina, where all the pennies ran. What kept the motors running way back then? Hear the band. He won 7 at Daytona. It was STP and 43. King Richard is a legend. He's a hero to me. When he wins, he waves his hand to the folks up in the stands. He is dedicated to all the NASCAR fans.
Well, that song being played on the public address system by Alabama, and it has been indeed an emotional few minutes. I think probably the most emotional was when Doyle Ford dropped the checkered flag as Richard went by there, signifying the end of the career. Let's go down to the Richard Petty car.
Richard Petty still sitting inside the car as Robbie Loomis comes over, and there aren't many dry eyes down here as Richard Petty for the final time will climb out of the STP Pontiac. Drivers, crew members from the garage area. Richard,
Frank Anderson.
it's been a wonderful 4 decades, and it's over.
Yeah, that's what I found out when I made that last lap there. It's been wonderful. I mean, 35 years, the good Lord's looked after us all these years, and I'm still walking around. I hate to have gotten a wreck and disappointed me and some of the fans, but the big deal is we're here talking to you when it's over with, and I wouldn't change none of it. I wouldn't trade nothing for nothing else.
Neither would we. Thank you so much, Richard, for all the memories. Richard Petty walks out for the final time of the STP Pontiac, and coming up next, we'll have a very, very special tribute to the King. Have the hankies handy, folks, because it is something you don't want to miss. Let's check into victory lane with our race winner, where John Kernan is. John?
Well, Bill Elliott, you did just about everything you could. You won the race, but as you said when you climbed out of the car, hey, I won, but I lost.
Well, it's been a long year, and, regardless of what happens, it's been one of those type seasons, and a lot of things has happened, and I mean, I'm just glad it's over with. This Budweiser Amoco team has done a fantastic job all year long. And to go out, winning the race, the last race Richard Petty will ever run in, I guess that says something. We've done about everything else. We didn't win a championship. And I think we're going to go up to Bill Elliott Ford tomorrow. We're going to have a hell of a car sale.
Okay, I'll see you there. Bill Elliott in victory lane, guys.
Congratulations to Bill Elliott, who did indeed give it everything he had, but came up just a few points short in his attempt to win his second Winston Cup championship. The quest for the Cup standings, 10 separate first and second. It is the closest margin in NASCAR Winston Cup history. Bill Elliott with 4,068, 10 behind. Davey Allison finishes third, Harry Gant fourth, and Kyle Petty finishes fifth in the point standings. As far as the race results are concerned, Bill Elliott was the winner, followed by Kowicki, Jeff Bodine, Jimmy Spencer, and Terry Labonte. Well, Benny, it's over, and it was great, wasn't it?
It was fantastic, but I'm just so glad that I was here today to be a part of this, because we saw two guys doing everything they could possibly do. I'm talking about Elliott, Kowicki, and Davey Allison when he was in there trying to win a championship.
And, of course, we saw the final race from Richard Petty, which in itself was enough to bring all the people here that came here, but we threw the championship in as a bonus.
Fantastic. Ernie Irvin, we see way back there. Jeff Gordon, his first race, his first Winston Cup race, he finishes 31st.
And Richard Petty will be shown as 35th finisher in his final NASCAR Winston Cup event. Season is over, and it's been a great one. There you can see Alan Kulwicki as he is now on the back of a convertible being paraded in front of the race fans who have gathered here. Alan Kulwicki, winner of the 1992 NASCAR Winston Cup Championship.
And he's not going backwards. He's going around the racetrack the way he's supposed to. But he threatened and he told everyone if he won the championship, he was going to go make that Polish lap backwards.
Well, now thoughts immediately turn to 1993. Each driver will be hoping that 93 will be his year, as 1992 was for Alan Kulwicki. There are just 92 days until the Daytona 500, and we can start it all over again. So as NASCAR is crowned a brand new champion here this afternoon in Alan Kulwicki, we bid another very special farewell.